Hey, welcome back to another day of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto 5 averages more copies sold per year than most mega hits managed to do in their entire lifetime. We'll talk about that. We're going to watch a video from Mrwhosetheboss. The gaming market is starting to break. We're going to watch TheKingerd's video of Halo campaign involved. Didn't have to do to be mediocre. So we're going to watch that. And then at the end, we're also going to watch Force Gaming's Looter Shooter fans need to see this game. So hopefully there's a new Looter Shooter out there for people. Oh, I don't have my light on. I just noticed. I was like, wait a minute. I'm missing a light. There we go. Holy Christ, I'm blind. So we're going to watch that as well. If we have time, Young Yeah has a video as well that we'll watch. How's it going, chat? How are you doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone had a wonderful evening playing some video games, hanging out with family. All right. What's going on, chat? Let me see who is all here. Altern, good morning. Travis, Waterbear. Jason, good morning. Brain Eclipse. Megan Target, nice to see you. Wonder Rose, good morning. Who am I missing? Anybody else over here that I'm missing? It keeps scrolling down every time. Ward, good morning. How's everyone doing as you come in? All right, let's get started on this this first story because we got lots of stuff to talk about today. So Grand Theft Auto 5 averages more copies sold per year than most mega hits managed to do in the entire lifetime, with a total of 230 million since 2013. I don't think a lot of people understand, right, what this is doing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Red Dead Redemption 2 has just surpassed 85 million, which is bonkers as well, okay? Regardless of what anyone thinks about Grand Theft Auto 6, you could think it's the crappiest game of all time, you could think it's mediocre, you could think it's the best game. It is going to do ridiculous things, not just, again, this year. It's going to... It's very hard to compete against itself, right? Rockstar against itself. There's no way to say for sure, the longer you go, that it'll keep maintaining the numbers of what Grand Theft Auto 5 did, because we're in a completely different landscape, right? We're in a completely different landscape than we were 13 years ago, right? Because Grand Theft Auto 4 sold really well, right? Grand Theft Auto 5 sold extremely well, and then the online is making constant money hand over fist, okay? A lot of people, okay, you're going to start talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 and how it's going to wreck the industry more and more because people are starting to understand the giant tsunami that's coming in. Because it's not about Grand Theft Auto just launching, okay, and people buying it. It's about the amount of time people will be dedicating to this game going forward once the online comes out, which we've talked about in length here. So if you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So Grand Theft Auto 5 averages more copies per year than most games in their lifetime. It says you won't win any prizes for guessing that Grand Theft Auto has sold well since the initial 2013, several lifetimes ago. But on a recent Take-Two earnings call, Strauss Zelnick revealed that up-to-date astronomical figure of 230 million copies. The Grand Theft Auto series once again exceeded expectations, and the date, Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold over 230 million units worldwide. Zelnick told investors on August 7th, called Recruiter consumer spending for the series grew 3%, and GTA Plus continues to thrive, all led by a series of content offerings, including the addition to Rockstar's Mission Creator. An all-new suite, innovative and in-depth tools empowering the player community to bring missions to life. Now, it says, quote, global excitement for the launch of Grand Theft Auto 6 continues to build, but with the title having an exceptional start to pre-orders, with Rockstar Games' recent announcement that Grand Theft Auto 6 extended look on August 27th on Netflix will believe that the consumer's passion, anticipation, and the next evolution of the iconic series will grow further, leading up to the title's November 19th release. Well, that's the proof is in the pudding, right? There's leading up to this. I know a lot of people forget about this because we would talk about this in 2020, 2021, that Grand Theft Auto was coming out in 2022, 2023, 2024, because of the leaks and stuff that happened. Okay. Dan Houser, okay, and a lot of upper staff members that worked for Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto have left. Okay. So obviously it's still out there, right? Because look, we love Dragon Age, and then we got the last Dragon Age. We loved Halo, and then we got the 343 Halos. We've got insert series here where we had the original, right, Batman. Then we got the end Batman, right? Completely different studio, completely different people working on the game. Rockstar is a rock star because of the name that it's made of the games in the past. Obviously, because of all that goodwill, because of all of the 8 years ago when, Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, everyone loves Rockstar. I love Rockstar. I have all their games, okay? So obviously, the goodwill is there. So people are going to pre-order. People are going to buy it day one. People are going to enjoy Grand Theft Auto 6. But once you start playing it, you're going to be like, I don't know if it's that good. And I'm not saying it's bad. Obviously, it's impossible to be unsuccessful. But the proof will be in the pudding once the game comes out, if it's an actual good game or the people making the game are just like any other studio that they don't know what they're doing with video games and they just have the name back in it, right? Look at Battlefield. Battlefield had Battlefield for years, decades. And then all of a sudden, the Battlefield people didn't know how to make Battlefield. And Battlefield's been struggling for the last 8 years. So 230 million obviously is a lot of copies, but the vague number big. Quality without adding context. Endeavored to provide some of the funny statistics in the back of the napkin math to drive it home. It says, that's over 10 times the estimated lifetime sales of Baldur's Gate 3 at 20 million, and 5 times that of Cyberpunk 2077 at 40 million. Okay, remember now, Cyberpunk holds the record for the most pre-orders, and that's going to get blown away as soon as they announce the Grand Theft Auto 6 pre-orders. Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold an average of 17.7 million copies per year, a number uncomfortable close to 25 million lifetime sales achieved by the bottom entries of Wikipedia's list of the top 50 selling games of all time. Breaking down the further, GTA 5's average sales of 1.5 million copies per month as a lifetime figure would make for a double a development success story for indie royalty. 1.5 million copies of Grand Theft Auto 5 sell every month. That's insane. It's about 2/3 of the population of the United States and almost 4 times that of the United Kingdom. Still, nowhere near Tetris, estimated 520 million people, or Minecraft, estimated 400 million. Just a little difference here, though, right? Minecraft is basically for children and adults, okay? And it didn't cost $60, $70, $80, $90, $100. It cost originally $4, then $8, then $10, then $15. I think the max now for Minecraft is $30. I haven't bought it in 15 years. So it says numbers indeed big. It gives a sense of just how the Take-Two is hoping to accomplish with GTA 6's estimated multi-billion-dollar development budget. Rockstar's upcoming game is an entertainment juggernaut that's every other developer reassess a falling release schedule, but it also is a massive shoe to fill as far as the hungry shareholders are concerned. Okay, so that's massive numbers, man. And this is just going to continue right now because even if the game is terrible, look at what happened to Battlefield 6, right? Battlefield 2042 was terrible. Terrible. And Battlefield 6 came out and sold the people that weren't even Battlefield fans, the Call of Duty fans, to come on over, and they sold it a shit ton of copies, okay? And that's from a game coming to be a bad game to a better game, because it's not really a fantastic game, because they're still fixing it. But from that, making a shitty game ahead of time and then making a somewhat good game, everyone still bought it. Well, Grand Theft Auto is coming off a fantastic game of sales going into, so even if Grand Theft Auto 6 is the worst game ever created, which is not going to be, okay, but it's just terrible, it's still going to sell astronomically high just because of what it's coming off of, which is Grand Theft Auto 5, right? Now, I would love to talk about more down the road, what is Grand Theft Auto 5 Online going to do to Grand Theft Auto 6 Online, right? Is this going to cannibalize this? Does this stay alive because people can't afford the new systems, because they can't afford the new game, and they just stay over on Grand Theft Auto 5? And Grand Theft Auto 6 and 5 coexist? Do they do something different with the online, right? Because the single-player game is the single-player game. The buku bucks that come in afterwards is Grand Theft Auto 6 Online. If it isn't even is Grand Theft Auto 6 Online, maybe what they decided to do, what me and Sarge talked about years ago, is they just make Grand Theft Auto like universe, basically, where it's an online thing and the people that are playing on 5 are automatically into the online type of stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about Grand Theft Auto 5 averaging all these numbers and just shattering numbers left and right? And what do you think this means for Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out? Do you think they'll beat this number come 13 years from now? Do you think they'll be up at 230 million? I mean, they probably have a good head start, right? Because 50 million is what people have said, but then the numbers came out and averaged around 17 to 20 million, which is still phenomenal. Again, these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. All right, chat. Let me see what you guys are saying. Let's see here. What's going on, Mo? Good morning. All right. Let's see. You guys talk about Origins, Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad. Travis says GTA 6 launches worse than Cyberpunk. It will still be given a pass. 100%. 100%. Remember, Cyberpunk was given a pass because of The Witcher. Grand Theft Auto 100% will get a pass because of Grand Theft Auto, because they built up that goodwill. 100%. Megan says, wasn't there a game like GTA ages back once, but set in London? Yeah, Grand Theft Auto actually had a top-down in London. I want to say it was Grand Theft Auto 2, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, you guys are talking about another game like Grand Theft Auto. They had a London version of Grand Theft Auto top-down. Altered says, games that I know that are GTA style are Saints Row, Precinct, Cyberpunk. That's all I know. None of them are in London. The Gateway or Getaway. The Getaway. I'm going to have to look that up. You're saying like a 3D, three-dimensional open world game. Is it the Gate? What was it? Getaway? Getaway. The Getaway, Black Monday, or The Getaway. Published by British gangster films such as Get Carter and Snatch. I do remember this game. Never played it. Yeah, I never played this one. I thought you were talking about Grand Theft Auto, the actual London version. Jesse Mack says, yeah, no shit. GTA 5 Online sold 200, or was that 2,030 million? What is that? Because of the shark cards, everyone knows that GTA 5 Online hates to put in Harry Potter cars, flying motorcycles, and ruined around the fans and get GTA 5 on that. Yeah, The Getaway is definitely the one I'm thinking of. I remember the cover now. Kyle says, don't worry, guys. Sony is releasing a Wolverine Edition console, controller, and covers. The company is saved. Fantastic. Hey, Brain says, I never played the second one. The first one was linear, but it was also good, game story-wise. All right. Yeah, I never played the Getaway. Maybe I'll have to. Was it decent? It's got a 7.9. All right, maybe we'll have to play it. Maybe we'll pick it up. All right. We're going to go into the first big video here. It's 22 minutes long. It's by Mrwhosetheboss. He's got 5.9 million subscribers. He doesn't need my help, but since we're watching this video, the link is in the description down below. So if you're not one of the 5.9 million people that watch this video, maybe you want to go over there. Maybe you want to give it a like. Maybe you want to give it a sub. Who knows? Okay, let's watch it, and let's talk about it.
This is a PlayStation 5. It came out in 2020 at $399, and now, even though it's 6 years old, it costs $599. Nintendo's announced a price hike to their Switch 2. The Xbox has raised its price.
Am I fast? Is he? Yeah, he just talks fast. All right.
3 times since 2025. And
What's wrong,
the
Cracker?
scariest part is not even the extra money, it's what's happening around it. Because at the same time, PlayStation announced it's going to stop shipping physical game discs entirely. Xbox has axed 5.
Look, I've said it 1,000 times. I'm going to say 1,000 more times. If you guys watched my channel, you know I've said it 1,000 times. All these companies are working together. Make the problem, sell the solution. I talked about cloud gaming way back when. That's the play. That's the play. It's not about exclusives on the consoles and holding you back. It's about the industry going digital so they can get more money and get subscription models, because that's where the cash is. That's where the cash is.
Of its big game production studios and fired thousands of people in what's being called one of the biggest single layoffs in gaming history, all while Nvidia has started capping how many hours a month you're allowed to play when using their services.
I love that, right? GeForce. Remember Nvidia, they were a gaming company. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but in their latest earnings call, right, for Nvidia, there is no longer a gaming section. They've moved the gaming section into, I think it's called, what was it called? Advanced tech gaming or something like that? Advanced gaming tech? Or I don't even think it's gaming in there. It's just advanced tech, right? So that's cars and computers. It's just lumped in now, right? It's just lumped into the entire thing. They don't care about gaming anymore. They are completely an AI company. That's what they're going for.
The craziest part? Everything I've just mentioned is linked. This is actually all part of a single chain reaction that's already started in the gaming industry. And I don't see where it stops. To understand what I mean, if we were to take apart this PlayStation 5, inside you would find 16 gigabytes of RAM, or memory, which it needs to be able to run games. A single AI chip from Nvidia, the Blackwell
Is this guy a magician? How is he doing this?
Ultra, requires 288 gigabytes of memory, 18 PlayStation 5's worth of RAM. Now it is a fancier type of memory than what's in your PlayStation, but it's made on the same production
I can tell you why he's got 5 million subscribers. He's got high quality video here.
lines by the same companies. So every gigabyte that goes into this is a gigabyte that can't.
I mean, just the cameras and stuff that he's using just for this setup, it's probably more I've ever made on this channel.
Be made for a PS5. And the problem is when AI companies buy chips for their data centers, they don't just buy one. Chips are sold in racks, each containing 72 of those AI chips. So one rack equals 1,300 PlayStation 5.
I think that's all we need to see right here. Do you want to know why the industry is going the way it is? Do you know why that Nvidia is selling these processors like this, or the RAM like this? Think about that. One tower of 72 is 1,300 PlayStations. Why would they sell you anything? And if you are going to buy it, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg.
Oh dear. And they don't just buy one rack. Racks are purchased in clusters. Last year, Microsoft switched on their first big cluster to help power the
How many are in a cluster? Is this like selling like hotcakes? How many hotcakes are in a cluster?
growing needs from OpenAI's ChatGPT models. That cluster was 64 racks.
Holy shit. Do you see the number that we're about to see? 64 racks, 72 in each one, right? Each rack has 8 in it.
In one go. 83,000
83,000 PlayStation 5s. Is this how they're boosting the numbers?
PlayStation 5s. And here's where it gets
It's a joke. Settle down, pony boys.
truly terrifying. Even that was barely a test run compared to the scale on which these new servers are being set up now. Just a year later, OpenAI is currently building out the Stargate campus that will reportedly hold 100 times the number of racks.
Holy shit, dude. Holy Christ. 100 times.
The Stargate campus that will reportedly hold 100 times the number of racks as that first purchase. 8.3 million PlayStation 5s worth of.
That's crazy.
memory in one company's one site. That's almost enough PlayStations for every single household in the entire continent of Australia. And so when you factor in
Is that a real place? Australia's real, right?
that there are also
That's a joke, Australians.
other AI companies, Meta and their even larger Prometheus site, xAI's Colossus, supposedly the world's most powerful data center, Amazon, Google, and every other big tech company who's galloping headfirst into the AI wars, we have reached a point where AI data centers are now estimated to be swallowing up 70% of the world's memory output.
70%. Aku says, 30, this isn't new. Old server racks are very similar to the comparison. Not as many per rack, but yeah. Listen, Aku, I understand that, and I appreciate the information, right? But we're talking exponentially way more server racks than ever before. They're literally building 8 football fields of just full of racks that weren't there before, and multiple companies are doing that. We're not talking about the same. We're talking about exponentially more.
70% is going into building services.
Kraken says, looks like going outside is back on the menu. Yeah. Feel like you come out, you know when you go into like an indoor place with no windows and you come out and you're like, and like the sun's hitting you. That's what's going to happen in about, I don't know, 3.5 to 4 years. There's going to be this emergence of neckbeards coming out of the house, and they're going to be like, what is this? All of a sudden, the epidemic of fat people drops dramatically because everyone goes outside, and all of a sudden we have this like reimagined of like, we're not Wall-E anymore, okay? And we're actually going to do something. We do live in the Concordian timeline, so I don't know. It could happen. It could happen.
That we'd barely heard of 5 years ago. And that has left everything else on the planet that needs memory. Every phone, every PC, every car, every console, having to now fight over the small and rapid...
Yeah, exactly. You go outside and the sun, and you just squint and you hear, you're finally awake. And you're like, oh my God, what is that? What is that ball in the sky?
shrinking pool that's left.
Have you seen the spider that they just found in Australia? They can yeet an ant to the fucking space if they didn't have a web to catch them. I'm sorry. I'm going to need to see a picture of this, Eclipse. If you want to send a picture to the Discord, I got to see a picture of this.
Why don't they just make some more memory, you ask? Well, I don't think they want to. See,
of course they don't want to. Because if they make more RAM, look, it's real simple. If everyone can have money, they just print more money. They just print more money, right? They don't want to print more RAM because they want to raise the price up for the RAM as much as they can to get everyone and their mother to buy as the highest price possible. That's control of the market.
the entire world's memory supply comes from largely 5 companies. And if we're talking about the specific type of memory used to make RAM, that's only 3 companies: Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron. And these 3 companies could choose to invest tens of billions into new factories to be able to produce more.
Aku says Australia is a survival server. It's PvP. In the world, Europe, in the middle of the East, PvP server. The US is a PvE and the market server. Yeah.
But that would take...
It's a good analogy, actually.
3 to 4 years to build. And if there were to be an AI crash in that time, they'd have spent it all for nothing. And so why take the risk when they're currently raking in cash? These companies are currently lapping up 70 to 80% margins on their memory compared to the historical norm of 30 to 40% because of one simple fact: that their new favorite customers, big tech companies, will pay absolutely anything for it.
That's right. And the reason they'll pay anything for it is because Meta is in competition with Sony, and Sony's in competition with Microsoft, and Microsoft's in competition with Google, and Google's in competition with Amazon. And all of these billionaires are trying to become more billionaires, right? They're trying to become billion zillionaires and trillionaires. It's trillionaires, then zillionaires, okay? Because they're all competing. They're all trying to buy up so the other people can't get that stuff. And meanwhile, NVIDIA's going, we are going to be the next trillionaires. Because everyone's trying to get, remember, everybody was trying to make the new Meta. Not the company Meta, but the actual Meta where everyone would go, right? Then everyone was trying to make the new NFT. Then everyone's trying to make the new AI, right? They're all trying to do the exact same thing. They're all competing, and we're just pawns in their big game here.
We are in a very unique situation where basically for the first time since the dot-com bubble, some of the richest companies
I forgot the dot-com. The dot-com bubble was a big one too.
on the planet, like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, are not even behaving like businesses. They're spending more money than they're even making from AI because the fear of losing the AI race.
He's about to say, I heard him say it, lose the AI race. That is the reason they're willing to pay everything and lose everything, because whoever gets the top or gets in the top 3 spots, they are set.
Race has actually become bigger than
I'm going to rewind that for just a second.
From AI because the fear of losing the AI race has actually become bigger than the fear of debt. This is a very precarious situation for the world to be in, and it puts these memory
It is like the space race, Mr. Luke. Yeah, it is like the space race.
Companies in such a powerful position that it feels like they've just decided to forget entirely about the consumer.
Because if they can all race and get to the top, everyone that didn't make it to the top loses, which then happens that there's 5 companies in the race, right? The one that gets to the top, the other 4 dramatically drop, and this exponentially gets higher and higher, and then they can rule the world. They can rule the world.
With Micron actually quietly shutting down its consumer memory brand, crucial to focus on these data center business customers. Now, new factories are coming. Elon Musk and Intel are building a giant AI complex in Texas, for example, that will also make some memory, but none of it produces anything meaningful before 2028. Plus, almost all of that new capacity is being built for, you guessed it, the AI customers anyway, because, well, you already know now. So how much more expensive has...
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Bill says the issue is that the AI bubble will come, so they will also lose a lot. Or rather, they will lose the economically, and AI will be less trendy. But at that point, the 4 companies that lose to the one company that's in the lead, right? They now have exponentially more money than everybody else, right? As a business, right? Not as people, right? And these 4 people now go to the next trend. But this guy is also going to go to the next trend. And they're all going to fight again for whatever the next thing is, right? For whatever the next thing is, they're all going to keep continuing the same thing.
This memory really become? Well, to give you an idea, within just 3 months at the end of last year,
This magic that he's doing.
has this memory really become?
It's like when you were a kid and you actually saw like David Copperfield or someone do magic. You're like, that's amazing. Like his editing, his team of editors and production value is very good here.
Well, to give you an idea, within just 3 months at the end of last year, the price of a single 16GB stick of RAM rose almost 300%, according to Tom's
300%.
Hardware's RAM price index. Asha Sharma, CEO of Xbox, has said the price we paid for console...
I love the picture they picked of her. I don't know if it's AI or not, but it's just like the most... Trust me, bro.
Storage components was over 2 times as high as we paid last fall. These costs have since doubled again, and as we plan for the 2027 holiday season, we expect another significant increase, taking us over 5 times the prices we paid only 2 years earlier. 5 times! Memory is getting so expensive that, according to a report from TrendForce, on some high-end graphics cards,
He has a complete production team behind this. Okay? This is like a television show. It's very good. Very good production value.
the memory that's on the card, known as the VRAM, now accounts for up to 80% of the total cost. Let that sink in. The actual clever bit of the graphics card that you should be paying for, the GPU chip that companies like Nvidia spend billions designing, is on some cards now costing less than the basic memory that's soldered around it.
The Fallout. Not to be confused with Bethesda's Fallout.
Here's where it starts to get problematic. The implication...
There wasn't a problem before this? This is where the problem begins. All right.
From these higher prices are bigger than they first seem. Because when the prices go up, of course, fewer consumers buy. Like if we take PlayStation,
Imagine that. Price go up, fewer people buy. Pretty logical, right?
May 2026, just after the price hike.
For some reason, though, people that are PlayStation ponies and Xbox think that someone's going out and buying a $900 system. Like, sure, someone's going to go buy it, but the masses aren't buying them. They know this. right? But the trash knights will be like, no, people are just going to go buy a $900 system. No, they won't. They won't, because there's no value there. The intrinsic value of the thing is gone. It was valued because it was cheaper.
Americans bought fewer PlayStations than they had in any May since the year 2000. That's...
Hear that again. PlayStations, less PlayStations are sold than the original in 2000. You have to go back 26 years. Right? Up until that point, every month, someone's buying a PlayStation. More people are buying PlayStations and stuff like that until this year.
Before the PlayStation 2 had even come to America. Xbox had the worst May in its entire history, and it's much bigger than just PlayStation and Xbox. Any company that makes any type of computing hardware. I was speaking to the director of one of the big Windows handheld companies, the companies that make this kind of stuff, and his words were, man.
This is exactly why I said it's stupid for Windows to make their own, or Microsoft to make their own handheld. I said this, a year and a half, 2 years ago, before we even heard about the handheld device that they came out with the ROG Ally, right? Everyone's like, oh, they're coming out with the handheld. I was like, that'd be stupid. It'd be the stupidest idea ever if they came out with their own handheld device. I said they should partner up with someone that's already making it.
Windows gaming handhelds and computers are dead now. No company will launch...
Man, Windows gaming handhelds and computers are dead now. No companies will launch new products with the RMA memory prices continue to rise.
New products if the memory prices continue to rise. It is crazy now. How bad do things need to be for a director of a currently operating business to call their own business dead? Even like Valve.
Hence why I said years ago that Microsoft would be stupid to make their own handheld device.
Typically,
how do I know this? How do I know this stuff from just sitting in my house?
the strongman of value gaming just launched their Steam Machine, a box that's barely as powerful as the 6-year-old PS5, for $1,049. It's not going to be the next Steam Deck, put it that way. So all of a sudden, the home console...
Remember when the Steam Deck came out?
$1,049. It's not going to be the next...
The Steam Deck was $399 when it came out. It sold well, but it didn't sell anything close to what other handhelds and stuff sell, right? That's a fantastic price now, looking back at it. But people are like, $399? I don't know.
Steam Deck, put it that way. So all of a sudden, the home console, the bastion that for 30 years has been the affordable way to game, the thing your mum could buy you at Christmas, is quietly drifting away from a staple to a luxury purchase.
And why are they doing this? Because they know they can get away with it. But what they don't realize is people's spending habits change real fucking fast.
Now, gamers aren't going to stop playing games, right? But are they going to have to start changing where they play them? Very possibly. And that's where things get concerning. If the PlayStation 6, for example, launches at 2.5 times the base price that the PS5 did.
Who's buying that? Keeping up with the Joneses are, right? The 3 to 4 million people, maybe 5 million people, will buy it because they want the latest, greatest tech, which always happens.
$1,000, which sounds like an...
And he's talking about PlayStation. I'm just talking about consoles in general. The Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, if they come out with $1,000 systems, very few people are buying it.
Outrageous prediction, but is actually what the current latest rumors are suggesting, then it's not a crazy thought that far fewer people are going to buy a PS6. And you might think, okay, I mean, that's fine. I'll just wait. I'll buy it pre-owned.
Right. You'll wait. But now they've put doubt in your mind, right? This last, 8 months? Now that they keep raising the prices, now the fear factor is in your head going, well, it's $1,000 when it comes out. But what's it going to be 3 years from now? It could be $1,300. It could be $1,500. Might as well buy it now. But that's insanity, right? That's insanity. It used to go down in price because they sold a shit ton of copies, right? But now they're putting that, they've planted the seed. They've planted the seed now for you to go, hey, consoles could go up in price. Right? And as Rod just said in chat, cloud gaming has arrived. So if they keep raising the price of these consoles and you're thinking the price could keep going up, well, I don't have to buy a console, right? I could go buy a PC and it's still expensive or whatnot. But what they really want to do is get you the cloud. Right? Make the problem, sell the solution. Oh, you don't want to pay the $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 for a console? Well, we got you. Go play on the cloud service.
But it's not about just us, the individual. See, the entire console gaming industry relies on momentum. These companies have to sell tens...
I said this years ago, and all of a sudden, all these YouTube content creators, they've woken up from a coma, and they're all saying the exact same thing. And now they seem like they're the ones that are like, oh, yeah, I thought about this, right? It's crazy to me that everyone didn't see this happening years ago. But that's just the way it is, I guess.
Of millions of these consoles right out the gate to prove to developers that their new platform is worth developing for. It means that a new console is basically either all or nothing. You either sell tons of boxes, have developers flooding to your platform to make games for those users, and then even more users buying your console because of those games.
There's only one system that has first-party titles that still sell, and that is Nintendo. PlayStation and Xbox are all third-party, right? Their first-party games sell 5, 6, 7 million copies. Third-party titles sell 10, 15, 20. More third-party titles are sold, not on Nintendo. You go to Nintendo, there is no third-party game outselling the first-party titles over there.
The Nintendo Wii is a great example of forward momentum like this, with the console eventually hitting 101 million sales. Or you bottle it at the start. You don't manage to get that initial launch trajectory.
Right, it's the Wii U.
Game devs don't want to take the risk, and then pretty much nothing you do is going to save your platform. Like the Wii U, which came just after the Wii, and in its entire lifetime has only hit 13.5.
Now, 13.5. Now, real quick, 101 million.
Which came just after the Wii, and in its entire lifetime has only hit...
And then look at 13.2. I don't remember a lot of people giving shit to Nintendo. They just like, yeah, the Wii U didn't sell. They didn't say Nintendo was over. They're going to fail. Nintendo's like, we're good. We're still selling software. We're good.
13.5 million. So my question is, how on earth are Sony or Xbox going to build any kind of momentum with their next-gen consoles if they're priced at $1,000?
They're not. It's that simple. They're not.
If the PS6...
Because the more they promote, it's like a PC, then why do I need to buy a PlayStation or an Xbox? I'll just go buy a PC.
Launches and only 5 to 8 million people buy one in the first year, whereas 80 million people are currently on PS5s.
Does he know something? Does he know something Roadkill doesn't? Roadkill said 100 million. He's saying 80 million. Which one's real? I don't know. We do know it's 93.5.
Which platform are developers going to prioritize their games for?
I think he just said 80 million just for a nice round number, 8 million or 80 million.
Obviously the old one. Sure, they'll make a version that runs at a higher resolution for the latest hardware, but any sensible developer who's gonna have to spend maybe half a decade pouring everything into their next game is going to do everything to make sure that it's PS5 users who are getting an optimal experience, because that's where the money is. So now, there is even less reason to upgrade. And the spiral descends. Because here's the thing, Sony more so than Xbox is a little bit protected. And
yeah, but think about that, Bill, right? There's a lot of content creators out there. There's 6 million content creators out there. I don't know if they're all gaming, okay? But if just 6 million, if every single one of them bought the next console, that's what I said, right? I said 4 to 5 million people will buy it, the next gen console, because keeping up with the Joneses, right? But that's the reviewers, that's the people that want to keep up, right? People that think they have the greatest tech. I mean, we had people like that when we were kids, right? We had a friend, his name was Greg, okay? And Greg bought everything, okay? Greg bought everything, okay? We had a Nintendo, he had Nintendo and Sega, right? We had the Sega, but he had the Atari Jaguar, he had the Neo Geo, he had all the stuff, right? But he was like the 0.1% of the 1%ers, right? Be like, oh yeah. In his world, he's like, yeah, everyone buys it. Everyone has it. It's like, yeah, no, not everyone has the Atari Jaguar or the Neo Geo. The rest of us go to the arcade to play those games.
The short term. If no one buys a PS6, then they do still have this giant PS5 install base to sell.
Yeah, see, that's the real number, 93.
Subscriptions and games to. But the install base of a console is like a melting ice cube. Consoles break, they get sold, they get retired, and players do slowly lose attachment and stop buying games for it across its lifetime.
Unless you're on the PlayStation 2. For some reason, PlayStation 2 sales are continuing to go up.
They drift over to PC, phones, or just out of the hobby. Normally, the thing that replenishes this pool of active users is the next-gen console. So if the PS6 ends up too expensive to do that, then the paying population for companies like Sony is going to shrink every year with nothing refilling it. So, if these companies want to continue to maintain their...
Here's what I'll say. The only way, because Mr. Luke says they're trying to sell the console like a PC, is the horse and the carriage. If the only way the PlayStation and Xbox can compete with PC is if they lose money on it. And the only way they lose money on it is if they're going to make a PC, they got to make a better PC than what PC is already making. Well, the problem is PC is not just one company, right? I can build a PC. You can build a PC. We can all, it's an open market. We can build our own PCs. There's plenty of also pre-built PCs out there, right? They're not just competing with another company. They're competing with thousands of other companies, millions of people that can just go out and buy their own stuff. But because they're all in cahoots, okay, and they decide that, well, gaming just doesn't belong on the console. It belongs in the cloud, right? That's what they're going to do. Said it before, I'll say it again.
Profits, they have to claw back money from other places. And as far as I can see, there are 4 ways that they could do this. The first lever they can pull is subscriptions.
Subscriptions. Keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind. Subscriptions is a thing. If it's digital or if it's cloud or whatever it is, subscription is the main goal.
These companies will raise the price of subscriptions and will make it feel more essential to pay a monthly fee to get the experience. I mean, Xbox tried an enormous price increase at the end.
Yeah, but they pulled it back. They're like, oh, we went too far. We scared off 4 million people. All right, back it down. Don't lower it back down to normal. We'll raise it up $3.
Of last year to its Game Pass, then realized they went a little too far and pulled it back a bit, but it's still more expensive than it was. And Nintendo's already started jacking up online costs 2 months ago in Japan. So
Oh, Nintendo Switch Online went up in price in Japan.
who knows how long till that becomes global? Lever 2 is game prices. And we've already been seeing a lot of this before the memory crisis.
$100 video game? What does that do? $100 video game goes, well, less people are going to buy the $100 video game, right? But people, quote me here, chat, people will take Grand Theft Auto and they'll bring that up. They'll take the outlier, okay, instead of the norm. $100 video games will come out and people will be like, I'm not buying a $100 video game. They're like, well, everyone bought 50 million people bought the $100 version of Grand Theft Auto. That's the outlier, not the norm. When the norm becomes $100, no one's buying games, okay? Which is less and less people. And what they're going to do is they're going to take those things, put them on the streaming services, so then you can just play the games on the subscription service. And if you want to play the subscription service games, you're either going to watch ads before you get to play the game, or you're going to pay a premium price on the higher end tier so you can play that first party title game, okay? It's just the way it is.
Like $60 was the default price for a game for 15 years. Then it jumped to $70 in 2020, only to now start another jump to $80, just 5 years after. If things carry on like this, we might be seeing the $100 video game sooner than we'd like to. The third lever is control. This is what we've just...
That is, subscription is control. The third lever is the first lever, subscriptions, control. But once they have control, once they go digital, okay, once they go digital, they have complete control. The prices of video games doesn't change. Rock solid stays where it is, and then you're just going to have to fight with yourself. Do I really want that? You're not going to be waiting for a sale. And then when it does go on sale, you're going to eat it up like throwing a piece of meat to a starving lion, okay? Because when they go on sale, you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy it. It's going to go down to a normal price. It's $100, but it'll go down to $70. You'll be like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much for dropping it to $70.
Just seen happen with Sony announcing that from 2028 onwards, they're going to cease distribution of physical discs. And this might seem completely unrelated to what's happening here, but the key thing that this move achieves for Sony is rerouting a lot of the money in the gaming market that wasn't previously going to them back to them, because it means that you can't sell your games anymore.
That's right.
When games are digital, they are tied to your account, effectively shutting down the entire secondhand market. It means that if your friend wants to play the same game you're playing, you can't just lend it to them. They can't just pop over to eBay and grab it for $20. They have to make an entirely new, maybe $80, maybe $100 purchase direct to Sony.
That's
and
correct.
that doesn't already sound like a problem. Look at this. On my PlayStation right now, if I want to buy, say, Immortals of Avian, a game that, safe to say...
was a shit game.
Execute Order 67.
Thank you very much, Aku, for the $2 super chat. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You love me. You really love me.
All right. Immortals of Avion. Right? That thing was a piece of shit, huh? That was a piece of shit.
Flopped pretty hard. Sony
$70.
is currently selling that
$70.
for £69.99. That exact same game, I can pop onto my phone, go onto...
Bro. $70 on the PlayStation Store. $5 online. Enjoy licking the boots of the corporate world.
CEX and order the physical edition for £5. It is crazy to think that this second option could just disappear. And crazier still, that this is how Sony prices games.
Look, I wouldn't pay that still.
While these other options still exist. What are they going to do when there's no other option? To clarify, when Sony accesses the discs, you will still be able to buy their games at other retailers, but you'll be...
For now. Right? That's to make you feel better about yourself. Here's a digital code. I went to Best Buy the other day. There's nothing. There's nothing, man. It's just cards. Right? PlayStation had more discs, like section, but they were gone. They're not restocking the shelf. I asked the guy, I said, hey, when are you getting more of these in? Game I wasn't interested in because they were out of Call of Duty. Okay. Call of Duty physical copies in the shelf were gone. I said, when's the next shipment? They go, we're not getting any. We're not talking about 2028 now. We're talking about 2026 right now. They're not restocking the shelves. Why? They're trying to move that inventory because there's no way they're going to get inventory and go, well, everyone knows now that digital games are the future and physical games are gone. Nobody wants to buy it. So once they sell out, they're like, that's it.
buying a download code that still has to go through the PlayStation Store to get you the games.
I don't know what I expected.
So Sony will control the price more so than they ever have been able to with discs. I wouldn't go as far as to say that Sony axed the disc because of AI, but I do think that Sony axing discs is a sign of a squeezed, desperate industry, and that squeeze is largely brought on by this AI boom. And even if these discs don't officially die till 2028,
I like how they made a they made one. They just hand drew that physical edition Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm sorry, 6.
It feels like the beginning of the end is now with GTA 6, maybe the biggest game launch in history. But the only physical thing about the physical edition
is the box.
Is a download code.
Yep.
At which point they might as well just be digital only. And Nintendo too, because their game cartridges
He just pulled that out of his pants? How long has that been there?
just rely on the same type of flash memory that's rocketing up in price. Publishers on Switch 2 are increasingly shipping dataless game key cards, like Elden Ring. It's a cartridge in a box that doesn't actually have the game on the cartridge, just a key that downloads it. So when you put it in, you're the one who has to download it, and you're the one using up your internal storage instead of theirs. And the fourth...
Or you pay a small fee and you can stream it on the cloud.
lever that these companies can use to recoup their costs. The darkest one I'm getting to. But for the time being...
Do you know that Target, as you say Target, Kylo, Target changed the electronics section to the huge card section and the book section, the aisles of the Switch, the PlayStation, no Xbox, the single aisle for PC headsets, mouse, and keyboards. Did you know they're also getting rid of their... Most Target stores are getting rid of their television sections. Do you know why? Do you know why most people are getting rid of their television sections or Target's getting rid of their television section? People think it's because of the RAM stuff. It's not. It's because more people are watching on their phones. More people are just watching on the phones. Like younger people moving into places, they're not even getting a television set. They're just watching stuff on their tablets, laptops, and phones.
Can you see how it's already getting more expensive and just worse to be a console gamer? This is even leading to some insiders claiming that while Sony originally planned to launch PS6 in 2027, that it has now been delayed to 2028 or later. And whichever way this turns out, there is absolutely no doubt that we're about to see slower progress in games becoming next generation. And there's even a
Well, yeah, I love this. I love that it's a very professional stream that he's doing here, a video that he's doing, right? We've talked about all of this, chat. We've talked about every single one of these points over the last 3 years, 6 years, really. Okay. We've talked about all of this. We've talked about subscription models. We've talked about cloud gaming. We've talked about increasing the prices, them taking away video games from you. We've talked about it all. He's summing it up in all nice one little video here.
Supposedly claiming that the next-gen consoles will ship with less RAM than originally planned and a lower speed bandwidth, as if there weren't already enough reasons to be concerned about them. I was originally wondering, one upside of AI is that maybe you don't need that new hardware. We've already seen with NVIDIA's DLSS 5 tech that AI has the ability to massively
He has a scout in the channel. So that's a long game to play, Mr. Luke. That's a long game.
upscale the resolution of games, make them run smoother, and even improve the lighting in real time. But alas, most of this tech can only run on new compatible AI hardware, which the current gen consoles are just not.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this out loud right now, because this is exactly what's gonna happen in the future. If they all push you to cloud gaming and everyone moves over to PC, well, then what you'll see, okay, is that these companies will start buying PC manufacturers, pre-built, and all the other stuff. And when they do this, okay, they'll start pushing that where they go, we're not going to make it anymore. Like, they will literally buy them and not make the PCs so you and me can't buy them. And the only way to then do it is to stream it on your all-inclusive one television set, which is your PC, which is your gaming system, which is your thing, right? And you're just going to stream it. Because they don't want you to own anything. They don't want you to own anything.
Unfortunately, it's not just gaming companies and gaming consumers who are losing out in this spiral, because the final lever that brands like Sony and Xbox are going to have to pull is cost cutting. Like I mentioned, Xbox has actually divested 5 big game studios, including the people behind massively popular titles like Hellblade and Psychonauts, and in the process,
when you say massively big, it didn't sell that well. Either did Psychonauts.
also axed around
Not to say that I'm not comparing them to Grand Theft Auto or anything like that, but they didn't do great. Psychonauts did good, but Hellblade, what was it, like 4 million, 5 million?
around 3,200 jobs. This is one company's one set of layoffs. And still, it means 3,200 potentially talented level designers, graphic designers, voiceover artists who were previously working on the next generation of games, who there's a very good chance are just not anymore. Keyword, talented. Reportedly, the layoffs even include around half of the team at id Software, the studio that basically invented the first-person shooter with Doom.
They don't care. Look, the entertainment industry, I've said this before on the channel as well, the entertainment industry is, what have you done for me lately? They don't care that you came and you made the first fucking video game and next gen, you know, and moved video games forward. They don't care. What did you do? What did you do last time? Right? What did your last game do? Right? In the film industry is, what did you work on last? Right? They don't care what your resume is and what you worked on 10, 15 years ago. Cool. Cool story, bro. What did you work on last? That's all they care about.
Quake, Wolfenstein, and more. Now, imagine if on top of everything else, the higher prices, the dirtier tactics, the reduced focus on next generation, that we also start getting fewer big budget games too, because there's fewer people to make them. From an industry trade analysis in May 2026, a higher hardware entry price changes the shape of the next install
Higher hardware entry prices changes the shape of the next install base.
Cohort and feeds directly into the lifetime value assumptions that justify a green light decision at the publisher level. Or, in English, publishers decide whether to make a game based on projections of how many consoles are going to exist in the future.
Correct. Hence why, if I'm making a video game right now, never made a video game before, where am I going to make my video game? Am I going to choose mobile? Am I going to choose PC? Am I going to choose Xbox? Or am I going to choose PlayStation? Or am I going to choose Nintendo? Well, if you're a small independent guy and you only can choose one, you're going to pick one of two. You're either going to make the game for mobile or you're going to make the game for PC. You are not going to make it for Nintendo. You're not going to make it for Sony, and you're not going to make it for Microsoft. You're not.
To sell it to. This memory price surge has reduced the future projected install base, which means that games are being killed at the pitch stage right now because of RAM prices, and we're not even ever going to know which ones.
Yeah, but you could say that games are being killed right now because they're only for one console and they're only going to Game Pass. Then there's also games that are coming out that are successful because of these things.
And I think there's a very good chance that this also affects the innovation in games, because
Crazy Boss, Cooking Boss, Fitness Boss.
doing new things is a risk. When projected install bases shrink, it means that the threshold for something...
Right, and people don't understand this, right? Because you're buying the higher end prices of the stuff, because you're buying these remakes, because you're buying these remasters, they're not going to make anything else. They're not going to make anything else because these things are selling. And because these things are selling, they're not going to try something new. You're not going to have new IPs because you keep playing the old IPs because the old IPs in your head are much better than what they are today. Hence, we're going to talk about Halo in a second.
to become greenlit is going to become tighter. So the games that make it through that are increasingly going to be those easy, safe wins. Games like the new Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, a beloved 13-year-old game that's been rebuilt cheaply, targeted at hardware people already own, and absolutely filled to the brim with...
You can go buy Black Flag right now for a microtransaction, or you could buy the resynced one.
in-game monetization. Or for another example, Jason Schreier recently reported that Obsidian, one of the other top game devs, they're ending work on a new unannounced RPG game to work on the next iteration of Fallout, the safe, known entity. These are dark times for video games. I mean, EA is even going all out right now on trying to create a new standard for how in-game advertising works. And they're not scaling them back. They're actually building a platform that would let advertisers in almost real time buy ads that will then appear onto billboards and objects.
Oh, it's gonna be great. Yeah, keep supporting EA. Keep supporting their sports game that doesn't change because no one else can make a sports game.
That you will see while trying to play your games. Now, you would hope that there will be limitations on what can be advertised where, but I am horrified by the idea of dropping the big bucks on Ghosts of Yotei, being knee-deep in feudal Japan, katana drawn, cherry blossoms falling, only to turn around and see a giant sign for
I don't think they're gonna do that for that particular game. I get what he's saying.
car insurance discounts. And even if it doesn't go that far, think about it. As soon as there becomes a monetary incentive to show gamers adverts, how could that not start to change how game worlds are designed? And even what types of games are made and how permanently online they need to be connected. Now, a lot of the issues that we've talked about, game publishers getting greedier, the layoffs, has been happening already in the background for years. I mean, especially after COVID, when companies realized that they couldn't sustain the revenues that
Lockdown hero.
they had when all we were allowed to do was basically play video games. So they've been finding all sorts of ways to recoup those costs, both in-game and also by culling employees.
You're fired!
Point being, the fire was already lit, but the AI crisis stacked on top of this already strained industry is like the fire brigade showing up with cans of petrol. The problems are now accelerating so fast that, yeah.
It's not even that though, Chris, right? It's not even that. Chris says, I can see his point of view when you think of hardware costs to make the games on. Higher end games require high-end hardware. Smaller developers may not be able to afford. The whole point of Unreal Engine 5, all right, and why people are using it and other engines is because it's to make it easier for anybody to make it, right? There's people right now that are not developers, that are just kids, teenagers, that are making game modes and games inside of Roblox, inside of Minecraft, inside of other things, right? There's literally no excuse for people not be able to make games to put it on stuff, right? The only reason, graphics are at a ceiling. The graphics intensity are at the ceiling. Anybody, you and me, can make a video game right now at the highest tier of graphics right now because of Unreal Engine, right? You can. Graphics mean absolutely nothing. They're at the ceiling, pinnacle top of the stuff. You can't do it. It's about gameplay. It's about what it is and what it costs to make the actual game. It's not about the hardware that they can use to actually make the game. They can use anything, right? I can make music on a recorder. I can also make a music on a $15,000, alto saxophone. Okay, it's not about the tool you use; it's about what the person uses the tool for.
There's still a possibility that the memory crisis suddenly starts to ease. I hope it does. It is possible that this AI bubble that some people are calling it does just pop entirely. But the worrying thing is, if they don't, how much more can console and game
Yeah, I have no interest in the Star Wars game, Travis, because of EA.
prices keep going up and demand keep going down before this entire business model for a games console as we know it becomes unviable? I don't think very long at all. If the AI industry carries on doing what it's doing, then there's one of three things I could see happening. And I don't think any of them are good news. One, cloud gaming, like Nvidia's GeForce Now.
I love that everyone's bringing up cloud gaming now. Everyone all of a sudden comes through the fog and sees it.
Becoming a more popular alternative, so that Nvidia can rent us the graphics card we can...
No one believed it before. Nobody believed it before. But Sony says digital games are happening, and everyone all of a sudden's like, "Oh shit! Oh shit! I think we're gonna have cloud gaming."
no longer afford to buy and own, and we can stream games from their servers for a monthly fee forever. And this isn't conjecture, the service is growing, racking up 30 million registered users, with industry analysis actually citing the hardware scarcity from this memory crisis as one of the big three drivers of that. 30 million is a huge amount of people. Not an entirely fair comparison, but that's basically the same number of people that have bought the current gen Xbox Series S and X combined. And what makes this so depressing that it's almost funny.
Right, that's just GeForce. GeForce is the same amount as what Xbox has out there.
Nvidia just this January has enforced a 100-hour-a-month playtime cap on paid.
And why do you think, we talked about this, chat, we talked about this. Why do you think GeForce Now put time limits on it? Why would they put that in effect now? Because they know what the future beholds. They're pushing people towards cloud gaming. They know more people are coming in, and because more people are going to try it and give it a shot, they have to limit it to what it is. So then they can start making the tiers and what you pay for and what you don't pay for, right? The industry works together.
GeForce Now accounts. Obviously that's not going to affect every user, but it paints quite the picture of what the world could look like when you don't own your hardware. The second thing I could see happening is older classic games becoming not just something that you revisit because you fancy a bit of nostalgia, but something that you settle for because it's a whole lot more affordable. We've already started to see this on PC, where the majority of all PC playtime now goes towards games that are over 6 years old. And a recent survey from Tom's Hardware, a publication that's only really going to be read by PC enthusiasts, finding that 60% of their readers won't be upgrading any hardware for at least the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And then the third situation is...
I'm done. I literally just bought a PC. I'm good. 5 years, 6 years. I can upgrade my RAM and stuff like that. I'm good.
Mobile gaming becoming more of a default. See, all tech is getting more expensive, right? PCs, consoles, and that includes smartphones too. But people are still going to buy a smartphone because it's considered much more of an essential.
Right, which we've also talked about on this channel. People told me they're not going to play video games on a cell phone. I said, yeah, you're not buying a cell phone to play games, but when you have no other options, when you're sitting on the toilet, when you're in a car, when you're in a train, when you're in a plane, you pull your phone out and you're like, oh, I can play video games on my thing, right? And it does everything else. Look at all the things it does.
Than a games console. So if the user base of the smartphone remains, because it's considered consoles, and that includes smartphones too, but people are still going to buy a smartphone because it's considered much more of an essential than a games console. So if the user base of the smartphone remains steady, and if anything continues to rise, while the pool of people who can keep up with the increasing costs and difficulties of being a console or PC gamer falls, of course I could see a situation where developers are much more incentivized to put their eggs into the mobile basket. Am I happy about that? Hell no. Console games are held to a certain...
I got a really good deal, Kylo. I wasn't even looking for one. It was an $1,800 one that was on sale for $1,500, and then they had an instant rebate type of thing, so I paid $1,275. I got a AMD Ryzen 7 8700, 8-core, 16 gig. Hold on, I gotta look up. I got 16 gig of RAM, which I can upgrade. I already have the RAM. GeForce, I got a GeForce RTX 5060 8 gig with 1 terabyte SSD, right? It's a mid-tier, PC. All the stuff I want to play plays at high, ultra, 1440 at 100 frames, 120 frames. So that's what I got, right? I don't need 4K because I don't have a 4K monitor. So it does exactly what I wanted, and I got a really good price on it. So I'm good.
Standard that mobile games just aren't. And it's not like you can just make console games and then put them on mobile. This has been tested time and time again. Resident Evil 4, Death Stranding, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and commercially, they largely flopped. They cost near console money and barely anyone bought them.
This is the thing that we had an argument about yesterday, right? People telling me that Apple doesn't care about gaming, and they're talking about the game sales. I don't give a shit about the game sales because Apple's not making the games. Apple's just making a platform like Steam, and they're the biggest one on the mobile platform, right? They have the most. Everyone's like, well, a mobile phone's not a system. It's hardware. Why do I need to make a gaming PC to play the games when they can just play them on the cell phone?
Because mobile gaming rewards free-to-play, battle passes, and in-game currencies and adverts. So the future that I'm worried about is not your favorite console game but smaller on a phone. It's this entire industry where the only economically sane thing for a game dev to do is to build endlessly monetized, free-to-play machines. Games that are not designed around spectacle and hardware-pushing experiences because no one has the hardware, and instead are all about just reusing safe IPs that have worked before, remaster after remaster, made by fewer and fewer people. And it's about what we lose on the way, from the games that you can no longer borrow from your friends, to the graphics cards that you might have to borrow from your not friends. The industry will find a way to claw its money back from the one group of people who can't pass that cost on. That's us. I'm a console gamer at heart, but I've actually noticed myself becoming more of a mobile gamer.
Uh-oh. He was a console gamer, now he's becoming playing more games on a mobile phone.
These last few months, I'm currently playing a ton of Pokemon Champions on my phone instead of the Switch, and even my second favorite franchise, Monster
This sounds like an advertisement.
Hunter. Their next game is mobile only, and it's just created yet another reason why Surfshark VPN, our sponsor, has a permanent
There's the sponsor.
place in my control center. Because the moment that your gaming moves to your phone, your gaming moves to the internet full time. You're playing on cafe Wi-Fi, hotel Wi-Fi, airport Wi-Fi, and every one of those networks is a vulnerability. So the fact that I can just single tap here and know that every account login, every payment detail is all encrypted before it leaves my phone is
Yeah, I'm not playing games in the middle of a cafe. Sorry. I'll talk to people.
a massive peace of mind, especially since the rise of AI is actually making it much easier for scammers.
Roadkill, I don't. My wife hates me because I don't look at my text. She's like, I texted you. I'm like, I didn't see it. I don't use email. I don't use, look, I'm not saying everyone needs to do what I'm doing. I just disconnect. Like, you guys will see me. I'll talk on Discord and stuff like that. I'm in like short bursts. Okay. But then I put it down. I go away. Like, I don't give a shit.
To use that info to convincingly deceive you. And unlike the immense price creep that we've seen across the entire gaming industry, Surfshark's price is still as low as it gets. With the code BOSS, it's $2 a month for an unlimited number of users.
That was a really good video. Mr. Who's the Boss? Go check out the channel. 5.9 million, almost 6 million people. God damn. I would like to get to 5,000 people. Okay. He's at 5.9 million. So go check it out. Link in the description down below. We're going to go from that and we're moving on. We might not even get to the third video, right? We're going to get to, how long is this one? This one's 20 and this one is, Kingerd's is 25. You know what? We're going to go Kingerd first. We're going to go Kingerd first. All right. All right, we're going to watch Halo Campaign Evolved. Didn't have to be mediocre, okay? This is his opinion on... Now, Kingerd is I don't want to call him a Halo purist, but he's a big fan. He's a big fan of Halo, right? Many of you guys are big Halo fans, much bigger than I am, okay? So we gave our thoughts. We're going to continue playing our campaign run this Wednesday night with Sarge, Brainchild, and Cuban 77. But let's watch this. And see what you have to say about what campaign, as we call it, campaign devolve.
26 is sort of like that scene in Hook, where a grown-up Peter Pan watches the Lost Boys pretending to eat delicious food. If you dare call out that the plates are empty, there's no sustenance here, some twerp is gonna scream at you for not pretending hard enough like they are.
You're a very ill-mannered young man.
You're
You know that?
slugging worm.
It's the Halo fans' fault that
That's why we watch Kingerd, because his edit clips are fantastic.
Halo is stuck in this cycle of mediocrity. It's been our fault since 2012, apparently. So to fight this ridiculous narrative that just won't die, that Halo fans can never be happy with anything, let's at least try and make lemonade out of half-rotted lemons here. For just a moment, let's enter Pretendville, where it rains ice cream, the Game of Thrones finale cured world hunger,
Right.
and Halo.
The game's fine. Most of people that defend stuff, as we call them, trash nights, right? When someone has a critique about something, okay, like you're getting someone that's never played Halo before defend Halo because they've never played it before, and they're defending this one, where the people that are the Halo fans are like, you could have got a better version. And we're literally arguing for you should have got a better version. And they're like, you guys just hate it. You hate Halo. Why do you hate it? It's like, because we love it. We love it, and we want you to have what we had because you didn't play the original, right? For whatever reason, now you can play it, but you have a worse version of the game.
Studios put out a remake of Combat Evolved that wasn't just filler for Game Pass, it was actually well received across the board. New fans love it, old fans think it's a respectful evolution of a campaign they've loved for years, and we didn't have to rely on modders to fix or restore basic features. What exactly would that remake look like? Well, for me, in determining the quality of a remake, I have one very simple rule of thumb, and it goes like this. If I'm doing a playthrough of a series, and I skip a remake that series has, I want to feel as though I'm missing out on something. I don't need a remake to try and replace an original, and let's face it, that's just never going to happen with Combat Evolved anyway. No. I just mean a remake needs to be faithful yet bring enough to the table to justify its own.
Yes. Well said. Well said.
Own existence. Make itself worthy of inclusion in the lineup of the games in the series. Graphical upgrades? Those can be nice sometimes, but that's remaster behavior. With remakes, I want to see correcting old mistakes. I want to see doubling down on what worked before with new content that supplements the story without betraying it. New mechanics that are additive but don't break the gameplay. A good remake is one that I'll still think of even when playing the original again, like, oh yeah, I remember this part in the remake, I liked what they added here, or how they fixed this thing. Campaign Evolved does none of that. Skip it and you miss almost nothing. This remake wouldn't even cross my mind while playing Combat Evolved again, except maybe in the library level, which is not remotely enough to justify playing through the whole thing for. So on behalf of Halo fans everywhere who love Halo but are sick of being told, lap up this hot...
Exactly, Mr. Luke. How do you upgrade and miss bits? Because they kind of glanced over the cliff notes of the last game.
Plate of apathy, or you're a bad Halo fan, I'm gonna offer up exactly what I think Campaign Evolved should have been. Not just what shouldn't have been removed, because duh, but also what could have been added to it. How it could have been elevated to something that would have actually earned a place in my annual replay of the Halo series. Let's get into it.
Kingerd will be on the show on Thursday this week for our 500th episode of GXG.
What should have been the easiest and quickest thing to get right was preserving all of what made Combat Evolved work in the first place. Just don't take anything out. Rocket science, I know. The most obvious, being multiplayer, is completely missing from this game outside of co-op, but for this video's purposes, we'll stick to the non-PvP content. Right. That's still strike one.
It is for this How do you make a remake but not put the multiplayer in it? I know why they didn't. Because they didn't want to take away multiplayer from Halo Infinite, because that's their moneymaker.
What some may call a nitpick, I call 1 out of 1,000 cuts. All these nitpicks combined are what made Combat Evolved the beast of a game that it was, so naturally when something is removed, it's only fair to ask why. And no, Halo Studios, because reasons is not an acceptable answer. What do I mean? Well, let's rapid fire. Bring back the original voice acting. Either straight up reuse all the same...
Yeah, just reuse. Just reuse the voices from the other game. Pay your actors again because you're reusing their voices. Okay? Pay your actors. You're making a product. Pay your actors. Pay your people that you're using their voices again.
Voice lines because they were already perfect. Or if you insist on new recordings, bring back the original direction at least. So that Cortana is less bubbly. Johnson sounds like an actual sergeant in a war.
Go, go, go! The Corps ain't paying us by the hour!
Rather than an actor just reading off lines that he knows are iconic.
Go, go, go! Corps ain't paying us by the hour.
Bring back the effort you put into Terminals and Combat Evolved Anniversary. Those were great. These are phoned in. Forerunner buildings with unique archaeological texturing? Bring it back. This crap looks like metal walls from Ark Survival
Yeah, there's like no
Evolved.
texture.
Bring back all the weapon audio. Seriously, the sniper went from man cannon boom to the audio form of late stage erectile dysfunction. Raise all the music audio across the
Yeah, the music is completely missing from this game.
entire game. For some reason, it's mixed to where the music is more muted. I don't care if I'm just driving my Warthog around. The soundtrack to Combat Evolved is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, and you guys are the lucky rights holders of it. Show it off. Quit acting
Yeah.
like you're ashamed of
It's like they don't want to play it because they have to pay somebody.
it. As for cutscenes or stylistic choices within the cutscenes of the original, leave them all there. Don't touch them. Just recreate them with your new graphics. Every single one of them served a purpose. Why didn't Chief put Captain Keyes out of his misery in the remake? The guy's only being physically and psychologically tortured.
God, it hurts. No, please, don't let me forget.
I got the chip I came for, he'll be fine. Sure, some of the cutscenes were just meant to hide loading screens, but limitations in tech back in 2001
made them be
Combat
more
Evolved's
artistic.
area transitions more artful. It's sort of like how the mechanical shark in Jaws not working on set led to
that's
them
a good-
using it less on
That's a good example what he just did there, right? Because the mechanical shark, if you guys never knew about the story about Jaws, that shark would break all the time, right? They actually wanted to show the shark more. Because the shark broke, they had to make it where they couldn't show the shark so they had to make you think, sort of like an Alfred Hitchcock back in the day, not showing you the stabbing and stuff like that. Like they made you believe, which made the movie much better, right? Because you're filling in the gaps with your brain.
screen, and it ended up being a better movie for it. Put the hide the shark moments back where they were. The grav lift cutscene for Belly of the Beast, it gave us camaraderie among the troops, a feeling of adventure as we went into the unknown for the first time. I don't care how advanced the tech is now that you don't need a loading screen anymore. Better tech does not equal better art. How about Chief using the
Agreed.
Forerunner terminal for the first time? It's our first time seeing a human successfully interact with Forerunner controls, something the Covenant can't do and comes more into play in the sequels, and showing off the light bridge with a swelling soundtrack gave us our first glimpse of this advanced Forerunner tech. And then there's all the goofy little things in the campaign that you could do that didn't really serve a purpose in the grand scheme of things, but they were still cool ways for the player to express their freedom. Put them back. There shouldn't be a kill barrier in the opening seconds of the level that's supposed to feel open and
Right.
grand. Is it a technology problem? Why could I drive my Warthog out into the great unknown in 2001 but not 2026?
I mean, it's a small thing, right? If I want to just walk somewhere and do something, and I could do it before, why can't I do it now?
How about on keys? Let me sink into the pools of coolant if I want to. This is easy stuff, guys. It goes a long way in showing that you respect the original. I know there's going to be some people that say, why does that matter? But for me, it's a very simple principle. Imagine if Halo campaign Evolved came out in 2051 and removed
And I know what he's going to say. I know what he's going to say. You played this game for the very first time, and then in 2051, when they make a remake of this version, they take all the stuff out that they put in this game.
features even from this remake.
Yes.
That's what it would be like. A game that's made 25 years in the future from now should have more to it, not less. You
Exactly.
want things that matter more to the gameplay? Fine. How about restoring the original AI behavior? Elites used to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. They were formidable.
Yes. You know, I didn't realize until he just said it out loud. That is what's missing inside this game when we fight them. When we fight them, they don't fucking move. They just kind of stand there and take it.
Enemies and meant to be Spartans equals, and they felt like it. Now they just stand there like mini bullet sponges. That
Yes, they
PTSD
do.
Marine in 343 Guilty Spark? In 2001, he shot at me. In 2026, he shoots at a random spot on a wall. We should not accept complex mechanics as an excuse when this was done flawlessly 25 years ago. But the problem with this rapid fire of preservation means you just get back to where you started. If Combat Evolved is a 1 and Campaign Evolved is a 0, then these changes just get us back to it being a 1 again. Hardly
Yep.
worthy of a remake, right? So what did they add? Well, innovations copied from other Halo games mostly. I really do like that they included features like vehicle hijacking, flood infection forms, reviving combat forms, blood pure forms, weapons from several games, Wraith operating, and a way to play
I kind of don't like the weapons from other games because I feel like you shouldn't have those weapons yet.
in third person. Seriously, that's great stuff. But then there's almost always a caveat in what I think this remake should have been.
But I have a choice. Like, if I don't want to use that weapon, I don't have to use that weapon.
Switching seats in vehicles actually has animations to it, like Infinite already showed us they can. Flood Pure Form.
Yeah, why is that? Why in Infinite, just a game that came out 5 years earlier, has the transitions, but this game does not?
Can actually fit through the doors in the game that they're put in. And strangely missing to me, the infection forms should be able to both revive the flood forms and, as their name suggests, infect things in real time like Halo 3 showed us they can. Was technology better in 2007 than it is?
No, not technology. The drive of actually making something awesome was better back then.
In 2026? Here's an observation, and it pertains to how a lot of the base of this game was pulled from Reach. If the elite slap of death is back that kills you in like 6 or less frames.
My son actually said something the other day in Fortnite because he got the Spider-Man skin, right? That was in Fortnite. And there's two versions of it. There's him with the mask on and him with the mask off. And there's versions of the game where, like, I forget the other characters, where they, like, the helmet comes on and off in an animation form, right? But with Spider-Man, he doesn't pull his mask off because his head, Tom Holland's head's different than the shape of the actual head that's on him, right? So I was like, they're not going to do that because it costs too much because they have to show the transition. They don't want to do that, right? So they just say, well, no, you have to back out, put the head on, and then go back in. They don't want to show you the transition of stuff because it's just too hard.
As it did in Reach, why doesn't it also have assassinations or a proper campaign theater as Reach did? 11 years since a new Halo game launched with assassinations. 16 years since one had campaign theater. I don't want to hear any more about it being Halo fans' faults for being miserable when this IP keeps shedding cool features like feathers off a chicken.
They keep getting
but
rid of
if that
stuff.
weren't enough, the sequels hold even more inspiration that should have been obvious picks of stuff that could go into campaign Evolved. We've seen stuff that was cut from the original Combat Evolved make its way back into sequels over time, like engineers that heal Covenant troops, ambient wildlife, the flamethrower. There's a treasure trove of stuff they could have restored to this campaign if for nothing else it would have shown that they care about Halo's history. The mission with this remake should have been, let's make the Combat Evolved that Bungie couldn't back in 2001 because they were too limited.
Do what George Lucas did with Star Wars, essentially, is what he's saying, right? The technology didn't catch up to what they could do now, so now that they can do it, do it.
Limited in resources at the time. But no, with how many innovations this game failed to include, it seems Halo Studios was limited too, in everything but excuses, I guess. There's plenty of those. If you're not going to take advantage of what Halo games have already accomplished over the last 25 years, then why bother? Maybe the answer to that is because they were too scared to break more of this game than they already did. Halo Studios is like Timmy Turner's mom.
Everything I touch dies!
Yeah, well, that's what it is, 343.
As we're about to see, they completely misunderstood that making a game more modern is supposed to be helpful, not add a new issue that didn't exist before. What
Right, get rid of the old stuff and then make new problems with the new stuff.
issues? I'll show you, and let's fix them. For starters, every stupid mechanic added to this game for no reason other than modern games should have been opt-in features, not opt-out.
Agreed. We said this when we first started playing. I shouldn't have to opt in to get third person. I have to find a skull. I shouldn't have to opt out of sprinting, right? I should be able to turn on that stuff and off that stuff, but because sprinting wasn't in the game, I should be able to turn it on if I want it, not find a skull to turn it off.
For example, the overabundance of nav points, turn them off by default.
Agreed.
Go into accessibility options if you want them on. Hit markers, same thing. Have them off by default.
Agreed.
Or just non-existent if you ask me, but you know. And let people turn them on in accessibility options if you want. And how about sprint? Now I'm going to say something controversial, and let me finish before you slit my throat, but I'd say leave sprint
Wrong!
in the game. Just make it to where the skull for it gives you sprint instead of...
Agreed. Why is one skull give you third person and the other skull takes away sprint? It should be no sprint, and when you find the skull, it then is sprint, right? Like, I opt in to have sprint. I opt in, right, to not have third person. Since you put third person in the game, I should be able to switch the camera from third person to first person.
taking away sprint. Do it backwards. If skulls in Halo have always been about intentionally breaking the balance of the game, either making it harder or easier for you depending on what skulls you turn on, I think an activating sprint skull would make perfect sense. But right now, the skull disables sprint, meaning to rebalance the game around the movement mechanics, you have to find a skull first. Think about that for a second. How broken does your game have to be for hidden items to be?
Right, because as default, I can run past everybody with sprint, right? So if I have to find the skull to make it easier for myself to run past stuff, I should be able to opt in once I find the skull, not default run past everybody.
What fix it. It should never be up to the player to unlock a balanced experience. Like in Campaign Evolved, the Flood can't catch you if you sprint. As in, the primary antagonist of this game, the primary antagonist of the trilogy, this unstoppable space zombie that's supposed to be a threat to the whole galaxy, just run away from him, you'll be fine. In addition to a skull that gives you the ability to sprint, go ahead and make a dual-wielding skull too. It's just a fun thing that 343 for some reason has abandoned to the past, but this would be a cool way to bring
They don't want to make the animation with the other hand
back in a low pressure environment. Not like you need to balance it for PvP in this remake, right? And not even say same thing for adding ADS to every weapon. That probably should have been a skull too, with how much it breaks the assault rifle. As for the markers that show up on the last 3 or so enemies, just get rid of it. Don't even put it in accessibility options. Stupid idea. Bad Halo Studios. In short, every modern mechanic added to this game should have been optional, since the game itself was not redesigned around having them. If your level design is almost exactly like the originals, but you then hide the mechanics of the original behind accessibility menus and skulls, your game is broken by default, and you've made it the player's responsibility to fix it. But even if you fixed every one of these problems, there's still a massive gaping hole in what Campaign Evolved is selling itself as, one that I honestly don't think I'll ever understand why it shipped the way it did. And that hole? Replayability. Their marketing says they want the game to be infinitely replayable, but I cannot
that right there, more what you're saying is false. From the video that we watched yesterday, and I don't know if you were here yesterday when we watched that video, he showed all the points of the campaign, of the achievements throughout the thing, and then people's player number going down for each of the chapters, right? Meaning the game was losing population as it was going because of the game, not because of multiplayer. Right? We're talking about the people that actually played the game. The people that are actually playing the game are leaving the game faster and faster, or not even completing the game. Why? One, because all the reasons that they're saying right here.
Possibly fathom one single excusable reason why this campaign-only game does not have time boards, does not have scoring, does not have any sort of leaderboard like MCC has had since 2014. I couldn't believe it when I booted up the
There's more people leaving on Xbox because the people that have already played the game see that all these other things are missing. They're like, why is there less in this game than there was in the past? The people that never played it before, from consoles that never had it before, they don't know it's missing.
Menu, and it didn't indicate to me anywhere which levels I'd beaten on Legendary and which ones on Heroic. There are no armor sets to unlock. There are no weapon skins to unlock.
There's been actual proof, factual things though, more, that it didn't sell well. Regardless of people leaving because it's a single player game and they play the game or whatever, it didn't sell well. People wanted refunds. People don't like the game. Why? Because of all the things that Kinger's stating in this video. It's not the same Halo.
But they exist. Every cosmetic in this remake is either paywalled or for some inconceivable reason only accessible if you get a code that's shared online, log onto the Halo Waypoint website, redeem the code, and then log back into your game.
Why?
What? I'm almost at a loss for words. How does this happen? Every one of these could have easily been rewards for scores or achievements in game.
Why couldn't you just put this in the game?
But no, you've got to go on Twitter and find people sharing their codes. Look, Halo Studios made the opening of Truth and Reconciliation able to be done stealthily, which is great. but how easy would it have been for them to have us start that level out with a suppressed cosmetic variant of the sniper rifle, and then beating that level on legendary unlocks that cosmetic
Stop it, King. You're making too much sense.
variant for use across the whole game? At this point, hire me, Halo Studios. I'm just kidding, don't hire me, I don't want to be yelled at. And as easy as it would have been to include a firefight mode using many of the game's areas as maps, no. Minimum viable product doesn't have room for firefight.
There it is.
When it comes to replayability, I'm not asking for anything groundbreaking, just give us the same kind of replayability value that we've already seen in this franchise.
Nope, can't do that. Can't do it.
The newest game shouldn't be the one going the furthest backwards. Now, we all heard the sales pitch for Campaign Evolved. It's on PlayStation. They want more people to join the Halo community.
I would call upon our entire Halo community to welcome with open arms this next generation of players.
I would welcome you to make the game that was before, so the people that never experienced it love it just as much as the people originally did, instead of doing a minimal viable product with fancy graphics.
Yeah, but what about returning Halo fans? What do they get out of this?
Nothing.
A remake needs to have a reason to exist, and one way they often try to do that is by adding content.
Think about this. They made a worse version for the people that love Halo, and they made a worse version for new people trying to love Halo. So why release it the way you did? Because it's pretty?
Campaign Evolved even tried that with the 3 prequel missions of Chief, Johnson, and a squad of
Terrible
ODSTs
missions,
on
by
a
the way.
Covenant ship.
Spartans aren't the only badasses in the UNSC.
Would you like to hear my comprehensive plan for improving this extra content? Cut it. Get rid of it. All of it. Gone. The characters and dialogue are cringe. I mean, how badly did we really need...
This was one of the worst scenes right here, right? This is one of the worst scenes in the game, and this has nothing to do with the female Helldiver ODS soldier, right? Like, this is just telling you who the people are. It's like, what's happening right now?
to watch a Prophet mwahaha monologue while introducing a lineup of Covenant species like it's The Bachelor. That subtlety in Combat Evolved of what the Covenant even is or cares about. You ever heard of it, Halo Studios? But hey, at least Chief and Johnson are nice enough to let him finish instead of, well,
just shooting him.
too much of the setting is just Halo 2 Anniversary and Truth and Reconciliation assets smushed together, but keep that dangerous game stuff in your pocket.
Well, I'll tell you what, Megan, if you ever want to play Halo, don't play it. Don't play this version. Play the older version. Play the old version and get the exact way it was supposed to be. You'll love it so much more.
For a spin-off, I think you're onto something with that. This prequel mission stretch is not fun. It continues Halo Infinite's reliance on throwing the player into boring open sandbox scenarios instead of daring to craft any kind of memorable sequence. And by the prophets, I hope the phoning in of this thing isn't indicative of what the next Halo game looks like.
Well, here's the thing. If this game sold well, we don't know if it sold well for them. For how much they charged and how much they spent on it, we don't know if it's a success, right? They won't tell us that. But if they make Halo 2 remake and they do the exact same thing, we know the answer. And if they don't and they make a new game for Halo going into the future, then we know our answer there as well.
But worse than that, by far the most offensive thing about it is that it has zero narrative significance to the story of Combat Evolved at all. It adds nothing to the opening of the campaign, it provides no relevant additional context to the story. The only two things it adds narratively are tied to 343 Studios games, wouldn't you know? One being an excuse for Halo 4's enemy designs, and two, a throwaway line that acts as an origin to one of Halo Infinite's themes.
That wasn't the mission.
Missions change, Chief. Always do.
This wasn't the mission.
The missions changed. They always do.
See how they just repurpose it? They just make it something different?
Work of a true genius!
If you really wanted to do a prequel mission on a Covenant ship that was relevant to Combat Evolved, I would have suggested you pull one from the Fall of Reach, where the Spartan Sam dies after a plasma weapon burns open his suit because it was a plot point that the Mark IV armor doesn't have shields. So instead of letting the vacuum of space turn him into
Well, that would be pretty good, huh?
Hamburger Helper, he chooses to die on the ship that they're on.
Yeah, because he's going to die anyway.
on when it explodes. The very first Spartan 2 to die in action. Well, the UNSC has reliably informed me that Spartans never die, but Sam was the first one to go missing in action. I know 343 loves bringing Spartans in and out of the games without any fanfare or any explanation, but this kind of prequel mission would be a perfect prelude to Chief's isolation from the other Spartans by the time Combat Evolved's events kick in. It'd even be a perfect way to introduce the energy shield.
But that's the problem, right, Crowded? Right? Crowded says Halo is the you had to be there phase. It's too old. Shooters have advanced a lot since then. But that's the point. This is why people make fun of 343 all these years, right? Say what you want about Bungie, right? As in the Destiny's era. But when Bungie made Halo, they changed the game. They literally changed the game. The reason that we have all these first-person shooter games and stuff today is because of what they did with Halo, right? Completely changed the landscape of gaming. 343 was handed it, and they did nothing to innovate over the years. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Okay? They could have taken something with Halo Infinite, but no, they did the minimal viable product with Halo Infinite as well, right? They just said, oh, we're going to put it on a larger map, right? They did game mechanics in there, but they didn't raise the bar. They just stayed below the bar. They didn't want to do anything, right? And this is why people say 343 is worse, than they just changed the name 343 to Halo Studios. This studio is worse in every way, shape, or form, okay, than Bungie was when they did it. And they've never exceeded that because they never wanted to exceed it.
In the Pillar of Autumn level. Have it be like a flashback sequence that Chief is dreaming about in cryosleep, so he wakes up fully motivated to save every last human life he can on this ship. Now, doesn't that prequel mission sound a lot more relevant to Combat Evolved? But rather than just prequel missions sectioned off from the rest of the game like Campaign Evolved did, I propose something a little more transformative of the whole campaign. And honestly, this should have been a no-brainer. Additional content scattered throughout the levels, and lucky for Halo Studios, they wouldn't even have had to come up with much of their own to identify what it should be or where to put it. First up, here's an easy one. Add Fireteam Raven on the Pillar of Autumn as a group that Chief fights with. Nothing crazy there, just some nice tissue to acknowledge that masterpiece's existence. There's even several places across the campaign you could also have them pop up again if you wanted to. Maybe have them provide aerial support while you're fighting Flood on the bridge in 2 Betrayals. Seriously, you could script entire sequences around this. But if I worked at Halo Studios, there's one sequence that I think would have been the most obvious to include in this game, and it actually comes from the novelization of Combat Evolved, The Flood. So in the game, you're informed—
I told you, Kingerd is a very, very passionate fan about Halo.
That Captain Keyes has been captured just through dialogue.
I found Captain Keyes. He's being held on a Covenant cruiser I disabled before we abandoned the Autumn.
But in the book, it cuts away from Chief to a battle sequence between the people who landed with the Pillar of Autumn and waves of Covenant that eventually overtake them and capture all the officers. It's even partially adapted in, what do you know, Fireteam Raven, but there's also a really cool fan mod of it. This entire scene sets—
There's a fan mod of it, yet the company couldn't do it themselves.
The tone of the overwhelming odds the humans are facing on this alien ring in ways that you can't really achieve when they have a super soldier there fighting alongside them. I'm not proposing a giant full-scale level or anything, just a hold-off sequence like something out of Modern Warfare 2 or Halo Reach, where you play as Captain Keyes or Fireteam Raven, no energy shield to protect you, so it's much more dangerous, and have this take place right after the end of the mission Halo, so that your first time on the ring is still with Chief coming out of the lifeboat, and then when this sequence is over, you move to the beginning of Truth and Reconciliation with dialogue of Cortana.
The enemy has captured Captain Keyes and are holding him aboard one of their cruisers, the Truth and Reconciliation.
That was easy.
Hey, do me a favor, tell me what the problem is with this next gameplay clip. You ready? Here goes.
Well, the problem is that you could take the vehicle through that section and just start dominating everyone. I said it when we played it.
Do these hunters seem intimidating to you?
No.
Do they seem like a problem? Did you—
It's exactly what I said when we played it. Right? I was like, oh, these guys are so hard, and I pulled up to the top, and we were just shooting them down from the top.
Even realize there were hunters at all? Well, even in the original, you could run right past them, but instead of taking the opportunity to improve on what's supposed to be—
You couldn't get the vehicle up there. I mean, I could, I used to get that vehicle and everywhere.
An encounter with the Covenant's most intimidating units in an area that's central to where the story goes at the end of the level. Campaign Evolved somehow made it worse, thanks to Sprint and
no fucking music as well, Sarge.
Now being able to easily take your Warthog up there. I mean, credit where it's due.
See how he said easily.
Good call nerfing the Magnums, but go further to make this encounter more important. Put the vehicle block back, close off this arena, make the Hunter fight a mandatory mini-boss fight, and actually show this thing opening in the new cutscene. For some reason, they removed that entirely, so in Campaign Evolved, you have no idea.
Because they made choices because they had a budget, and they're like, oh, we'll cut that out. We have to cut that out for time. Instead of just remaking the game for what it is.
Where the Pelican is even descending. The visual context from the original is completely gone. How about Jenkins's tape, which in the last video I did praise for playing out like a horror segment, but now that I think about it some more, I think they should have taken it further. Why does this have to just be a cutscene? Make it an interactive, almost horror segment. Keep the dialogue, keep the length of the sequences all about the same, but you're playing as a shell-shocked Jenkins who's too scared to fire his weapon. What an awesome opportunity this would have been to put the player in a vulnerable position when first meeting the Flood.
He played it on the Max Legendary.
Maybe give the player the opportunity to skip it if they just want to, like it's a cutscene. Now, some of you might call this heresy, but there's one thing
we're playing on Heroic.
Always felt like Combat Evolved was lacking around the game's ending, and that was a singular antagonist that you actually play against. There's the Covenant, the Flood, the Monitor, but I mean an adversary whose tension with the player rises and rises until the very end when we finally get to put him down. Like Tartarus in Halo 2, Truth in the Gravemind, and
how is it? Just think about this for a second. How is it that Kingerd, who doesn't work for Halo Studios, is just a fan of Halo, knows more about Halo than the people actually working on the fucking game? Explain it to me. Explain it to me. How come these studios don't hire someone like this, a fan that knows everything and anything about it, especially if the people that are working on the game don't know anything about it, and they're doing like cliff notes, and they don't care about people that they remove and things that they do in the game? It's like, what are we talking about here, man?
Halo 3. I think Combat Evolved deserves one too. And I have just the one in mind that could add this additional tension without breaking any of the timeline leading into Halo 2. Again, from the Flood novel, throughout the entire story there's one specific elite named, Zuka Zamami, who would be perfect for this. In the book, Chief first meets him on the Pillar of Autumn, where Chief knocks him out cold because, I mean, come on. And from that point on, he becomes obsessed.
GDP says, all he's doing is dropping a bunch of fanboy BS. The fact is, the fanboy BS is better than the actual game that they're actually doing for you, the customer. The fuck are we talking about? They literally remade the game in a worse state than it was when it originally came out.
With hunting down the demon. Now, as cool as it'd be to see Zamami and the soon-to-be Arbiter talking and discussing battle plans, I think personifying the Covenant is best done in the opening of Halo 2. I wouldn't want to take away from Combat Evolved's feeling of fighting an inhuman alien menace. It's the same reason why I don't like that they added English voice lines to the Covenant in Campaign Evolved. So instead, I would use him sparingly and never attempt to humanize him. Treat him like Lurtz from Fellowship of the Ring, obvious in intent but animalistic in his actions. Have him be a boss fight at the end of Pillar of Autumn.
Exactly, Travis. This is the bare minimum they should have done.
And no, Halo Studios, not just a spongier elite, I mean a boss fight with his own attack patterns, and end it with a cutscene of Chief knocking him out and getting on the lifeboat and escaping. Have him be the one leading the charge in the newly added capturing keys segment that we talked about, and then encounter him again, like Chief does in the book, in Silent Cartographer with a bunch of his troops when they try to ambush you, and then one more final time in the finale. Instead of your final Covenant fight before the Warthog run in the Maw being some nameless Covenant on the elevator, have it be one last boss fight with Zamami. He's pissed and ready to tussle. You're on the clock with this fight before the floor you're on explodes though, so don't take too much time. And I guess if you want, you could even role swap this specific elite with Delphadam, again, the soon-to-be Arbiter in Halo 2. That could be a cool way to better establish their rivalry, so that first meeting between them in Halo 2 is all the more...
I think you guys are missing the point, or at least more is missing the point. All right. He's showing you if you're going to make prequel game modes, the story, this is his version of what they should have done, which is already lore, which is inside the game books and stuff that they've already done. In other games, fan people have made it inside the games themselves. He's just talking about what they could have done instead of the thing they did. right? I know this might affect some of you in your brain and go, well, he's just a bitch. He is a fan of the game saying, hey, instead of these prequel missions, you could have used stuff that you already had in the lore of stuff and put it in the game, and you could have done it better this way, right? Again, they're not going to go do this. This is just his fan perspective of this. How does this hurt you? Show me on the Halo box where this hurts you of him coming up and saying stuff what they should have done. Oh wait. Where does this hurt you guys that he's a nerd and he's explaining what Halo stuff is? Like where did he hurt you? So stupid. It's like he's literally explaining to you, instead of putting these prequel missions in, you could have done this. Instead of this mission here, you could have done this, and it would have been better.
Dramatic. In the intro of Halo 2, they just tell us that the Arbiter failed to save the Halo ring, but Campaign Evolved could have come up with a cool way to show us this. If not the way I'm proposing, then some—
You're not listening then. He's not pitching a whole new character. He's pitching people that are already in the games. Other games. In the books.
Some other way. It's this kind of additive stuff that isn't gonna replace Combat Evolved. Combat Evolved doesn't need any of this to still be great, but for the people who already love it, it could still be a nice reward and reason to actually play this remake. The people love their Arbiter. And as a final opportunity for rewarding the player for playing, I would have changed the Johnson Easter egg cutscene to unlocking a new game mode. One where you're playing as Johnson in a race to escape the flood and get to the surface of the facility from 343 Guilty Spark. No shield. Make it hard, play for score, play for time. A more horde-like and intense version of Resident Evil's 4th Survivor mode. Have your victory cutscene be as Pelican escaping the ring just before it blows and seeing Chief's longsword flying by in the debris. And as a bonus, it narratively tracks with First Strike's novel. Y'all didn't know I was a reader, did you? I used to take these books to school and—
He's just a nerd. This is the type of people you need to actually make the games.
Hide them inside of other books so nobody would—
Instead of just going, oh, it's Halo. It'll sell well because it's Halo.
See what I was reading.
Loser! You're a loser!
You may love or hate some of these proposed additions, but if nothing else, I'm only trying to come up with ways to answer why remake Combat Evolved in 2026. Because right now, Halo Studios' only answer to that question seems to be because graphics good now. Which is just not enough of a reason. 25 more years of advancements in game development should have brought us more than window dressing and hit markers. If it's not for a new experience, if it's not to unlock anything, and it's not because anything substantially additive was included, why would any Halo fan feel the need to play this remake?
They wouldn't, and it's a sale for the new people, which don't know anything about it because they've never played it before.
Years from now, the version of this game that'll be remembered most won't be Campaign Evolved with its shinier graphics. It'll be Combat Evolved because of its clear-cut care for the story it was telling, and for the hundreds of small decisions that all added up to one experience so classic that 25 years later and the brand is still desperately trying to recapture what made it so great. Skipping this remake in a Halo playthrough should have felt like skipping a whole new experience, but it just doesn't. I'll never feel the need to include it in my series playthrough. This remake didn't have to be a complete waste of time. It didn't have to be a minimum viable product, but sadly it is. And even more than that, it's a dire warning about the state of Halo, Halo Studios, and what comes next for the franchise. As to what exactly Campaign Evolved is trying to warn us about Halo Studios, click right here. Thank you.
There you go. He has changes. It's 30 who says he shouldn't have changed anything. The fuck did I say that? I said, just like Kingerd said in the very beginning of the stream, apparently this is, you're not listening. Your ears are clogged. Okay. He literally said, if you're going to make a game, make it exactly as is, right? But if you're going to change stuff, evolve it to what this is, right? They added the prequel stuff, and he said, this was pointless. You should have added this stuff. Yeah, go ahead, clip it. All right, moving on to the next one. People are moving on over from Destiny, looking over to the Division 2 or Resurgence, whatever it is. People are looking for the next looter shooter. Force Gaming here has got a looter shooter. Fans need to see this game. I know nothing of this game, so we're going to watch this. This is from Force Gaming. Here we go.
Production, and Division 3 only recently ramping up development, fans of the looter shooter genre might be left wondering, is there any hope? Like, sure, we still have great ongoing titles such as Warframe, but are there any new upcoming games for us to look forward to? Well, there may just be one. I'd like to introduce you to Cinder City. Now, I've covered this game a few times already, but there's been some exciting new details, along with over an hour of raw gameplay footage.
Did we watch one of his videos on this game? I don't think we did.
That's not really been properly looked into from what I've seen. All of this kind of paints a clear picture of what exactly to expect and helping to answer the question, does Cinder City have any chance of being the next great looter shooter, or will it once again be something tossed into the pile? Well, you know, the trash pile. Will it be trash? That's the question, and I have a few thoughts about that potential answer. Either way, let us find out together. Cinder City. What's up? If this is your first time hearing of the game, Cinder City, previously known as Project LLL, is an upcoming
this is LLL, okay.
open world sci-fi third-person
So we did watch something a long time ago on this.
looter shooter. It's also being called an MMO in the sense that the game's open world will evidently hold hundreds of simultaneous players with whom, in small or large groups, you'll be able to team up to complete dynamic public events, take on world bosses, run dungeons and raids, all of the traditional open world MMO fare, but with the looter shooter elements as well. Now, from previous blog posts, interviews, and developer videos, we also know they took inspiration from a wide variety of games, notably calling out the likes of The Division, which seems pretty clear from looking at gameplay footage, but a few others as well. The game's going to be leaning mostly into the open world PvE and co-op elements. You'll have large number of players fighting alongside each other, and then in addition to the open world content, there is also going to be instanced dungeons. They said these are going to be located inside buildings, underground, and out in the wilderness. Endgame in particular is going to focus on running this instance content and doing dungeons and boss fights to get the strongest gear, and they did say they will have a matchmaking system if you don't have any friends to play with. Like me, like me, that's who I'm talking about. It does look like most of the game will be fairly solo friendly as well. The story, of course, will be, but also they said the open world content that
It almost feels like a futuristic Division.
you're pretty much going to be able to solo everything, with the main exceptions being the map.
The memes are calling it the second Descendant. I can see, as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, I can see it.
Massive world bosses or the instance dungeons that are especially made for groups of players, which, gotta say, I take that as a personal challenge as someone who released an entire video series soloing Destiny hard mode dungeons in Destiny 1. Yeah, all right, fine, I'll try to solo it, sure. In terms of the game's overall size and scope, here's where things get interesting. They've said it's gonna be in the vicinity of 49 to 64 square kilometers. Now, for reference, that's
fucking huge.
Is bigger than the maps of Skyrim, Oblivion, and Red Dead Redemption 2, and it's roughly the same size of the map of Far Cry 5 or PUBG. And within that space, they've said hundreds of players will be playing together simultaneously. Specifically,
in the massively multiplayer environment that is Cinder City, how many players will you have playing together at once?
Around 300 to 500 players that can.
That's a bold fucking claim, huh? Hope we're not playing this on the cloud.
Play in the same space simultaneously, and for NPCs, the enemies, there will be 5 to 10 times more enemies than the players populating the area. So I believe this is a quite unprecedented size as an MMO shooter.
So we're talking about potentially 500 players in a single instance with over 5,000 PvE enemies in there as well. That sounds a little... I'll believe it when I see it. That's how it sounds.
They've got to break it down. They've got to break it down into instances in certain sections.
And if I do see it, is it going to be at 2 frames per second? Vehicles, these are going to play a big role. We've seen a lot of these in the various footage as well. Helicopters, motorcycles, trucks, and mechs. The mechs in particular are going to be something you can actually pilot to have help in combat. It's going to be combat-centric here. Now, when it comes to the various classes and playstyles, the game will not have a kind of traditional MMO holy trinity, but they have said you can build your character to fulfill specific roles based on the skills you pick, weapons, and gear you use. You can choose to be more tanky, damage, or support.
Oh, we never, well, at least I never get excited about anything until I actually see it for myself.
Focused. It is a character-based game. They said they're planning to launch with between 7 and 9 characters. They will have unique abilities, strengths, and appearances as well. In fact,
is this Is this a full price game? Is this a free-to-play game? What is this?
When they talked about it, they specifically said, yeah, one of the characters during his ultimate, he pulls out this super long blade and he goes crazy with it. So basically, sounds like it's going to function similar to Warframe's system or how the characters in the First Descendant worked. You pick a character, it has a set appearance and then abilities that you can choose from that play into that overall archetype and playstyle. But again, as I mentioned earlier, you can tailor it a little bit to focus on certain things over the other. And they said there will be customization within that as well, like visual customization, probably outfits you can purchase, right? PvP.
Yeah, if it's going to be free to play, it's definitely going to be a huge grind.
PvP. So currently they are mainly focused on PvE. They're fleshing out the world, the different types of content, the loot chase and power progression. However, they do have plans for PvP, but they're keeping it under wraps for now. Personally, I would love something along the lines of The Division Dark.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. I was just going to say that. If they're going to put PvP in, they'll probably do it like the Dark Zone.
Zones, especially with how much inspiration the game seemingly takes from the Division. It's like a sci-fi Division with some horror elements. Speaking of which, the game is going to lean into these kind of spooky natures. We've even seen in some of these trailers and gameplay focuses, zombie-like looking creatures and extraterrestrial monstrosities. Pretty cool stuff. And then also, yes, a lot of the sci-fi elements, like creatures that look like the Locusts from Gears of War. They're pulling a lot of inspiration with this game. Let's just put it that way. All right, so business model. They've said they've not settled on it. But looking at the company's prior games, seems highly likely it's going to be free to play and then packed to the gills with monetization in every other conceivable way. That's just...
I've already lost interest completely as soon as he said free to play.
What this company has done with every other game of theirs that I've ever touched and seen. Now, they do plan as well to have seasonal content. Shocker. This will include new characters, locations, dungeons, map, expansions, special events, and almost certainly a season pass, right? Okay. All right, so that's like the overall recap of the game. Now, about a month ago, they released a new developer preview, and this rehashed a lot of the same talking points and features, but it also did provide us with some glimpses of gameplay, new glimpses of gameplay. We saw some combat against the zombie-like enemy faction, which we hadn't seen much of it up until this point. We also...
There's another game it reminds me of. I'm trying to think of it. I can't... I
saw what looked to be
know.
a few different boss encounters. I'm talking about that massive red bar at the top.
It kind of reminds me of like and again, I'm not saying this on a one-to-one here, but the character and the way the tech is on him, it kind of reminds me of like Mass Effect a little bit.
For the screen, that's the indicator, right? We got a clear look at some of the classes with this one side-by-side shot of 5 of them.
And there's another game.
Just kind of like
There's another game that we played that was like futuristic way back when. I forget the fuck it's called.
Trip mode or whatever. But yeah, it's a class-based game. There was a bunch of cinematic footage and what appear to be scenes from the game's main story quest, and a few glimpses of some open-world multiplayer content with multiple people in the same space, like looking down on them. So yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. There was also like an NVIDIA DLSS trailer as well, just kind of whatever. Like, hey, the graphics look better when you switch it on, right?
No, not Outriders.
They also got some nice close-ups of character aesthetics. Let's call it that. All right. So really, though, the best look we have had of this game thus far actually comes from back when it was still called Project LLL. A couple of years ago, they hosted a 2-hour live stream at G-Star, the massive annual gaming trade show in South Korea, and this did really give us a great look at the game in action. The gameplay sequence began with a player dropping into the world while having control over where they land within a certain...
That'd be cool if you can go inside of those buildings. I mean, it's also not necessary, but imagine like you're scouting, you go up and down each fucking building, and that would take you an entire day just to go inside and out of that thing.
Proximity of the city.
Defiance. Altern. Yeah. That's what I kind of think it reminds me of.
It seemed like this was sectioned off for this particular preview. Upon landing, there were 4 clear objective markers on the map spread throughout that playable area. They start off by fighting some like groups of basic enemies in the streets, getting a good look at some of the gunplay here. And these are the NPCs that kind of look like the Gears of War locusts. And they do this for a while heading towards that first objective. Once they arrive, they go underground into what appears to be like a parking garage. They interact with this terminal, and then while walking back up, they bump into 2 other players. Clearly planned, but nevertheless, 2 other players arrive, and the newly formed trio then moves together for the rest of the gaming session, going from one point of interest to the next, completing objectives and fighting enemies. Now, while in combat during all of this, we see quite a few different skills and abilities. There was an AoE heal bot, a bubble dome that deflects projectiles, shoulder-mounted rockets, cryo grenades.
Now I feel like we're playing Anthem.
Double jumping. We also saw personal shields that will cover the front of the character. And then some of the areas they visited here within this time, we saw construction sites with like unfinished buildings overgrown with vines and bramble. There were junkyards full of shipping containers and vehicles, some heavily wooded sections of the city with tons of trees and boulders, and quite a bit of time spent just moving through the streets in this like post-apocalyptic setting between tall buildings. I mean, it is a major city after all. We also saw them collecting resources and loot, opening up chests or the trunks of vehicles with different color items popping out. Most of the quests that they did seemed to pretty much consist of going to a spot, interacting with the terminal, and then fighting enemies. That was actually all that we saw. At one point, they do come across what looked to be like a side quest or a public event. So they were at this helicopter pad, and they...
Did you see the jump? Watch the guy when he comes across. He like teleports from like here to here.
Across what looked to be like a side quest or a public event.
See? Did you see it? Did you see him jump? Right? Now, obviously, they're playing at a game show. Right? They're playing at a game show. He like skips 2 times instead of walking. They're saying they're going to put 500 people on this and it's going to be stable. Just saying.
Or public events. So they were at this helicopter pad and they activate a device, and then all of a sudden copters full of enemies start appearing, dropping them in and attacking. Now one of them actually lands on the helicopter pad, and after they clear it of enemies, the trio hop into the helicopter and start flying it around the city, using it to get to their next objective more quickly. It's actually at that point, I think they crash it and the thing explodes, but it's cool to see, like, you'll have helicopters shuttling enemies, and if you kill the enemies, you can take the helicopter and fly away. That's a pretty cool mechanic, right? Following that, there was a section where they got into some really intense fighting. There were loads of enemies spawning in, dropping from helicopters, big mechs on the ground, and what appear to be some sort of elite creatures. Bullets were just whizzing by in every direction, and the person playing here, the perspective we're seeing, ends up dying, which then has them respawning in a ship high above the city, and then able to drop back in and choose where...
They have that same... from Crimson Desert. Check it out when he jumps out of the ship.
In a ship.
You can see it
high above
for a split second.
The city, and then...
You see it? Is that a thing that they always do now? They have to, like the black bars,
and
whatever.
Able to drop back in and choose where they land. Initially, they end up dropping on the top of one of the tall skyscrapers near where they had previously died. And with that high ground, they start picking off some enemies, which was pretty cool to see. And this entire encounter, it kept going for a few more minutes. It seemed significantly more difficult than all of the prior ones, as the group of players just kept on dying here. Now, after this section, they did a short interview, and then they jumped back in for some more gameplay.
You know, it could be Exoprimal as well, but Defiance, it does kind of remind me of Defiance, but I actually kind of does remind me of Exoprimal now that you brought it up. I completely forgot about that game.
This time, though, it was from the perspective of another person, and this guy was
clearly
model, you know? A gamer. I mean, his aiming, the movement, his ability usage, it was much more on point and kind of what I'm used to seeing while playing, you know, because I'm a huge gamer, right? But no, it actually made the game look legitimately better because it felt like a person who games piloting the character. That's the main point I'm making here. I also believe he was playing a different character from the one prior, or at least we saw a few new abilities that we hadn't seen from the last session, like this backpack mortar that would rain down artillery strikes at a target location. This thing was hilarious. They even called down a mech at one point, and the player hops in and goes on a rampage.
I mean, that's cool.
And then they end up swapping, like he jumps out and another one of his teammates hops in. And even just watching this mech kind of stomping around the city, it looked really cool.
Now I want a fucking Transformers game again. God damn you.
And I gotta say, this whole second play session frankly made me much more interested in the game. They were just a lot more active, running around the city, picking off enemies one after another, shooting helicopters out of the sky, engaging with all this different stuff. Like, it legitimately looked fun. I think...
Yeah, are they inspired by Titanfall? 1047. We now make Splitgate 3.
This section of footage has made me the most interested than I'd been up until this point for this game, really. And yeah, so far, a lot of this looks and sounds pretty good, right? So where's the problem? Well, there are a few things that I'm concerned about. The first is what I see with my eyes. Unfortunately, one of the immediate things that stood out to me while looking at some of the gameplay footage is that it's rather stiff looking at parts. I think movement in particular looks incredibly rough. Like, it does not look good. The characters moving through the ground, especially when they're like crouch walking at parts in some of the demos.
It looks like it needs about 15 to 24 months
that we've seen. I will
just to get it to release, and then another 12 to 15 months to get to a good point.
I'll say the shooting and the skill usage seems pretty decent. There were a lot of the guns, like listening to the actual in-game audio, that I thought sounded pretty good. In one of the gameplay demos from last year's G-Star, someone was using a bolt-action rifle.
I wonder if they actually walk. You see the guys walk? It almost looks like they took it from Division.
Rifle.
I wonder if that's just a like a default that you like buy from the store.
And the whole process of shooting it and the headshot sounds and just even the sound of the guns, everything about it sounded and seemed like it had a nice feel to it, I guess I would say. Although there were some pretty bad animations here and there, like that one grenade toss where the grenade pops out of the character's shoulder like seconds after the animation of him throwing it.
There's a lot of little stuff like
hilarious. But stiff animations, those could technically be ironed out, and we hope they do. Aside from that, though, one other pretty big concern that I have is
there's one thing about free-to-play games. Free-to-play games, when they come out, are usually pretty polished because they have to be.
Proposed or proclaimed player counts in a game like this. If it is truly the case that they are having this one seamless open world with 400 to 500 players sharing the same space with no loading screens as a shooter with PvE enemies, I think that's unheard of.
What was that game that came out like 2 years ago? Beyond Human? What was that one? What was that game called? It was a free-to-play game. It just came out on console like a couple months ago. What was that one? Right? That was a free-to-play game everyone loved. Jumped on that one. That one came out right after like Days Gone. Once Human. Thank you, one.
The closest I can recall to anything like this player count would be PlanetSide, which does support technically over like 1,000 simultaneous players. But that is strictly a PvP game where players are engaging other players. There is
no Beyond Good and Evil 2. We'll talk about that in a couple of months or weeks because supposedly it's still being worked on and supposedly it's coming sometime next year or something like that.
There's no PvE.
That's been in development for like 17 years.
Element and shooting games with PvE and then all of the additional calculations, the computation required as a result. I've not seen anywhere near 500 simultaneous players in one uninstance space in a shooter with all this PvE. Not one. From all of the games that I played. I think Firefall supported somewhere around 100 players.
Wait, are you saying Beyond Good and Evil 2 is out on the 25th? Is that two separate? Are you saying it's out on the 25th? Are you saying this game's out on the 25th? Or are you saying Beyond Good and Evil 2 is out on the 25th?
Players per instance. Defiance was up to like 60 or so. Warframe supports up to 50 players, but only in towns. When you're in the handful of open zones, it's a much smaller number. I think it's less than 10. And Destiny 2, both of those I believe have a cap of 9 players per zone. The point here being is that I have never played a looter shooter game with over 200 players in one instance and all of the PvE, the trash mobs, the bosses.
That's very ambitious what they're talking about.
All of the events and all of the animations and the things that they're doing and the calculations and computation, like I said. None of those games had near 5.
B-Bay, if you've never seen Force Gaming, he literally plays all looter shooter games and RPGs. And if he was sponsored, he literally says this was sponsored.
100 players. None of those games even had near 100 players. I guess Firefall was the closest, but let me tell you, when Firefall had 100 players in an area, it was terrible. It was really bad. So, and that's probably the thing. Like the claim that they're going to have 300 to 500 simultaneous players on a map roughly the size of the PUBG map with all of that PvE, MMO stuff simultaneously also happening. I just don't know how realistic it is, and even if they do hit those numbers, it would almost certainly run like garbage based on what I've experienced in the past. Now, I hope I'm wrong here, and that they have some crazy black magic and they can actually do it, because that would be kind of cool to see.
Oh yeah, he'll play it. 100%.
But I don't know, man. Like the preview trailers that they've released, at max we see what 15 to 20 people shooting at the mech boss, and that raw gameplay that.
You know what I'm getting vibes of? I'm getting vibes of what Arc Raiders was before, because Arc Raiders before it was a extraction shooter was a game like this where there's a lot of people on the map and they're going up against bosses and stuff like that.
We just went over, that had a maximum of 3 players in the world that we saw. So honestly, I mean, frankly, best case scenario, they don't try to hit 500, because I don't need 500 players. If you can even get close to 100.
You don't even need 100 players. Like, you seriously don't need that much. You could put 25 people, maybe 30 people on the map, and just make points of interest to make people go there so it looks like it's busier than it is.
100, I think that would be crazy. But I don't need 500 players in one non-instance area. Just totally unnecessary as far as I'm concerned. At least if it's going to have a drastic impact on the game's performance and how the network works, and if there's going to be a bunch of like rubber banding, which there almost certainly would be, right?
There was in the videos.
100 players in a game like this. So, anywho, I just hope they don't try to go near that much in a single instance area. That's my main point, because I think it's almost certainly would be a disaster. Or they could prove me wrong and it would be amazing. That's the best pipe dream scenario. And finally, my last real concern for this game comes from the fact that it's being developed and published by NCSoft. Do I need to elaborate? Oh,
nope. Microtransactions galore.
Okay, let's assume that you're not a big MMO player and you're not too familiar with this company. Basically, every single game that they have had direct input on is monetized to the moon and back, maybe around the moon a couple of times as well. Aeon, the Lineage series, Blade and Soul, Throne and Liberty, all of these games have some crazy over-the-top monetization. The one game that's under their banner that I actually really enjoy, Guild Wars 2, that was made by ArenaNet, who operates completely independently from NCSoft. They just are a financial backer, essentially. That's my understanding anyways. Now, Cinder City is being developed by Big Fire Games, you might say, and yes, that is accurate, but Big Fire Games was an internally formed subsidiary of NCSoft. ArenaNet existed on their own, and then NCSoft came in and said, we'll fund you, do your own thing. My understanding is that Big Fire Games, NCSoft formed them just to have, as far as I'm aware, just to have a company that wasn't called NCSoft developing it to kind of shake some of the stigma.
I'll be honest, Perry, that's what they did. They're like, oh, let's make an offshoot of this company, still do the same stuff, but our name is so tainted because of microtransactions, let's put it to someone else.
Because yes, especially amongst people who are familiar with MMOs, there's a lot of stigma around NCSoft in their games, at least when it comes to monetization. It doesn't mean that they can't make good, fun games. And that's kind of the main takeaway that I want.
With any game like this, there's like I would say there's a good 30 hours, which if you paid for a game and paid 30 hours, you would be fine. In games like this, like Throne and Liberty, any free-to-play game, right? You put about 20 hours to 30 hours in, and then at that point, they wanted to see if they got the hooks into you. And then that's when they start putting the microtransactions. You start seeing what the grind is. You start seeing like what the end game is and type of stuff like that. So if you're playing these games knowing that they're very fun and addictive in the beginning, but they're looking to try to keep you hooked in. So after that fact, you're constantly paying for the little microtransactions and whatnot.
To wrap up with here. But yes, either way, NC's involvement does mean we should 100% expect many layers of monetization in the game. In fact,
he doesn't know the exact what it is yet, Crowded. He's thinking it's free to play based on their other games that have always been free to play.
Expect all of the layers, with the exception of maybe they skip the box price, because they do a lot of free-to-play games and they just monetize everywhere else. Now, those concerns aside, as a fan of looter shooters, as a fan of MMOs, I am 100% interested in checking this out, seeing what they put together, and hoping it turns out well. That's what I want every game to do. And the good news is, you can potentially play this very soon. On July 30th, they announced registration for an upcoming playtest. This is going to run between August 14th to the 16th. You can register on their website, and they have said that applicants are going to begin receiving access starting around the 12th, so very soon. Now, this will be under a strict NDA, so I wouldn't expect a lot of...
It's going to leak like a leaky faucet. People are going to show information about this as soon as they're done with it.
Coverage, although you may see some leaks here and there. But yeah, following this, there are going to have, in the coming months, additional playtests that I presume will be more open. I will say, though, I myself registered, and they did require you to link your Discord and provide your legal name, which I totally just...
What? I'm playing a video game.
I didn't put in the name of my pets. Absolutely not. It was my real name, I promise. Yeah, I don't know. A lot about this game does look interesting, especially that last chunk of raw gameplay footage that we went over. And I love the idea of a massive, seamless open-world third-person shooter with potentially hundreds of players running around doing all the open-world MMO stuff. Killing bosses, going on dungeons and raids, having cool vehicles to zip around in. The mechs look pretty awesome, and all these dynamic events. And
yeah, the mech, though, is probably like, you gotta be like level 99 to find one, you know?
all of this happening in this like sci-fi futuristic city with splashes of horror in there. It's a cool idea. It's a cool premise for a game. I am keeping my expectations in check for all of the potential concerns that I raised. The gameplay looks a bit stiff from early previews. The size of the multiplayer, frankly, seems unrealistic from what I've experienced in other looter shooters. I mean, again, literally, Firefall, Defiance, Destiny, and Warframe, none of those games got even close to 500 simultaneous players, and any one that got even close to 100 ran like total garbage. Closest was PlanetSide. We went over all this. Anyway. And then lastly, this being an NCSoft title, I pretty much expect the worst in terms of monetization. Expecting the worst.
There was supposed to be that. That's what Transformers Reactivate was. That was supposed to be a Transformers looter shooter.
And hoping
it's actually supposed to be a Transformers like Warframe, where you collect and collect the different Autobots and Decepticons.
The best there. So no, I don't expect Cinder City to be the next Destiny or Warframe, the next great looter shooter, but I still hope I have a fun time, and if so, great. I'm happy to experience. Hopefully this one as well lasts long.
When this game comes out, you obviously, if it's free to play, try it, because a lot of free to play games are fun, but like I said, the farther you get into it, you're like, okay, I need to get this certain type of material, and that material takes super hard to grind for. You could grind it, it's time or money, and then they actually have the monetization where you have like some kick-ass like visual effects happening to your cosmetics and whatnot. But that's what they always do with these games.
Than the first Descendant. As great as those character models were, the gameplay really didn't hold up for that long, and I'm hoping we get more from Cinder City. Fingers crossed. There are things about this that I think look legitimately awesome. All right, that is all.
He's over 1 million subscribers now. All right. Let's see what's happening on Twitter. What time is War Dogs supposed to have their announcement today? They're supposed to have an announcement sometime. It's probably this afternoon, I would assume, because I don't see anything. Oh, here it is. Yep, it's official. Early access, the 10th of September. War Dogs is available to pre-order right now. There you go. So that was the announcement. So early access, 10th of September. So a month from now. I knew they were going to say something. I thought it was going to be a little pushed up earlier because they had such a good play test. People are like, it needs to come out now. Yeah, so War Dogs comes out September 10th. Oh, I watched the video. I'm not going to watch it now. We watched the video of the pod racing game, the Star Wars game. Seems pretty good. Someone was talking about all the different races you can go to. There's like 4 different planets. It came out earlier today, so I don't want to watch it on stream. Star Wars Zero Company turn-based tactic adventure that's not just for XCOM experts. Okay. War Dogs launching in early access September following a successful closed test. Oh, yeah, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. Is the pod racing game made by EA? Is it EA? What's it called? Galactic Racer, right? Let's see. No, it's secret mode. It's not EA. It's not EA. EA has nothing to do with it. No, publisher's secret mode. Don't think this is EA at all. Nope. There's Lucasfilm, nothing to do with EA. Yeah, no EA involved. All right, this is War Dogs launching early access in September following a successful closed test. Bulkhead, his Team 17, has announced that War Dogs, a large-scale first-person shooter keen to Battlefield, is dropping in early access on September 10th, 2026. It's launching on Steam following a hugely successful closed test that happened, that happened this past week. And later this month, the closed beta will run from August 21st to 23rd. So there's also another shot to get in before it actually comes out. War Dogs has proven to be a rampant success thus far. Bulkhead, generating almost 1 million wish lists as a developer, who has also worked side by side with the community developer to an immensely promising shooter. Before going any further, War Dogs coming sooner than expected. What does that mean? We didn't even know when the actual launch date was. In a post on social media, Bulkhead revealed that there's less than a month before War Dogs launches in early access on Steam. Monumental thing that also gives sentiment surrounding the test is just wrapped up from everyday gamers and content creators alike. From now, you can pre-order the game and concept that might sound strange to some. I watched It's Me JP talk about it. He couldn't show it. Everyone's under strict NDA. They couldn't show it or say anything. But we watched a bunch of videos the last month and a half or so. So when it lands in early access, it will run at a price tag. Ooh, that's a good price. $40, a low price point compared to the game's played full releases. Bulkhead promises that there will also be no in-game monetization elements during the game's early access stage, aside from Supporters Edition that comes with some additional cosmetic items. Does that mean that there's microtransaction coming in after that? All right, War Dogs is one of the most anticipated first-person shooter games in a hot minute. It features tactical gunplay on large-scale maps, charging 3 teams, total 100 players, with fighting, also money upgrade to equipment and vehicles and other boosts. I was when I was watching or listening to It's Me JP on his podcast, Drop Frames, he was saying that inside the game, if you want to not fight at all, right, you can just get in a vehicle and drop people off. We showed a video of this when they showed it. And when you get out, you could be like an Uber driver, or you could be a helicopter pilot, or whatever. And you could just drop people off and you get XP. And if that person gets out of your car and they shoot and kill somebody, you get XP as well. Okay? And they can also tip you, right? Also, what I like about it, I heard that if you're in a tank, obviously you run out of ammunition and stuff like that, and you can take the tank and go back to base and resupply your tank, which is pretty interesting as well. So I'm looking forward to this. I didn't get into the early access. Maybe I can get into the beta. Mr. Luke says, I sent you a link if you want to join, okay? It's PC only for now, yeah. He was able to record your gameplay, so eventually, when the NDA drops, people will show. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I guess Kingmaker is just dead. Probably, yeah. Kingsmaker is probably dead. We haven't heard anything from it. Join Cinder City pre-alpha playtest. What? Oh, is that this weekend? That's this weekend, right? Okay. Because my son's birthday weekend is the following week. No, the $40 price tag. Now, the problem is, are they going to put microtransactions, heavy microtransactions afterwards? I would assume they would have to, unless they're just, because if they're going to continue adding stuff to the game, then it's a live service game. If it's a live service game, then they have to get more people to buy it. If more people don't buy it, then they have to get monetization to get people to buy microtransactions in the game. Where do you go? I mean, you are you're military. You're not in an army. You're a mercenary. Right, so a mercenary can look any way he wants, and the reason they have just the badges on their arms, right? You can see it. You can see it here. Doesn't matter what team you're on or what you look like. Just the badge around your arm tells you what team you're on. Right? So they'll treat it like Arc Raiders. If they do a battle pass or something like that, a season pass, where it's just cosmetic stuff, I'm okay with that. Right? As long as it doesn't shove it down my face and just people that want to come like support it or whatnot, I get it. Right? $4 price tag though. We'll see. Haven't played it myself. It looks very interesting of the videos that we watched from them. Yeah, it's not battle system, but they do have the each season, right? They have a season thing where you can earn stuff throughout the season. And then you can get the main currency that you can earn and then also buy stuff as well. I'm okay with that. If it doesn't change the gameplay in any way, shape, or form, and they want to keep supporting it, it's just the way it is now in video games as far as DLC. Like if they have this map, I don't know if they have 2 maps, 3 maps, or whatever when it comes out. But if they put a new map in later and have different game modes come in later and they're constantly supporting it, but they're not making any more money and it's $40 to get in, I'm okay with that. Yeah, they're definitely going to have to make more official servers because most of the time they were packed. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I saw that the Australians are banning... What game was it? They're banning a game, and then now they're worried about Grand Theft Auto. I could have sworn we had an article, I want to say about a month ago, talking about maybe it wasn't banned yet, but they were up for being banned. They can make money if a player hosted and paid for servers, in my opinion. That's what they should be monetized. I think they have that. I think they actually spoke about that. Hold on. Let me go to their website for a second. Because I could have sworn they brought something up where you could rent servers. Oh, it's a YouTube page, right? Hold on. Let me go to YouTube. Because I remember watching a video. Oh, here you go. 27 minutes ago. Here, let's watch this. Maybe they'll explain it.
Everyone is asking, when is the release date?
This is from Bulkhead. This is from the people that make War Dogs.
God damn it, Joe. Give us the release date. I don't know when. We didn't get any freaking release date or anything.
No specific date yet, but they did say this year, so I'm guessing it's going to be soon.
What if they didn't put a release date because they actually plan on releasing it really soon?
Gameplay wise, this looks like the Battlefield that I want.
That's it, it's now official. War Dogs is releasing into Steam Early Access next month, on the 10th of September. Steam pre-orders for War Dogs are live right now. Pre-ordering will guarantee you access into our upcoming closed beta ahead of release, allowing anyone who's interested in the game to try it out and refund the game if you don't like it. We fully get open...
Wait, is it open beta or closed beta?
Pre-ordering will guarantee you access
pre-ordering
into our upcoming closed
Gotcha.
beta ahead of release, allowing anyone who's interested in the game to try it out and refund the game if you don't like it. We fully get opening pre-orders for an early access game is kind of out of left field. So for context, opening pre-orders now helps us...
Battlefield still doesn't have a server browser. Look, I'm a huge Battlefield fan. I know you're new in my channel. I fought against this. I spoke up against this. I loved Battlefield, but from Battlefield 2042 to what they did now, they just lied to people. Just straight up lied. People were convinced that they were back and Battlefield was better than ever, and it just... Battlefield's still broke, still buggy, still changing stuff. It's a a shill of what it was before. It's a shame because I absolutely love that series.
More accurately predict how many players and servers we need to be running in each region, which will massively help ensure stability at launch. After our insane response to our closed alpha weekend, we just thought, why not? Our time is now.
Oh, so we watched, I'm gonna rewind this tower that you have here, right? If you see in the background, there's 1, 2, 3. So you could get a tower, right? Your base like your tower. And you could put defenses all over the tower and build, and you could just build the entire time, right? You could just constantly build up your barricades and whatnot. And then what you do, there's a code. If you find a code, you can go up in the tower, you type in the code, and then what happens is it makes that circle that's on the map come towards your area, so all the other people start to come and attack because you get more XP and stuff inside there, right? And when you do that, if you build up a nice defense system, okay, and you then bring that thing over to you, you can start wrecking and making a shit ton of money, which I thought was a pretty cool game mechanic.
Insane response to our closed alpha weekend, we just thought, why not? Our time is now. We just want to remind everyone that you can refund pre-orders and that we're more than okay with that, as it's the best way to open early access to the game for players who most want it without fully opening the floodgates. However, before the hype train gets out of control, we want to do something most AAA marketing teams would tell their dev teams to never do. Give you 10 legitimate reasons why you should not buy War Dogs.
Interesting. You should not buy War Dogs. Okay.
Reason number 1 is the lack of content and the speed at which we deliver it. Our focus has been on core gameplay and performance. From a business standpoint, we invested most of our money into those things, leaving less for content and the shiny things that actually sell games. What I'm saying is War Dogs has a content problem. We are launching with
This is gotta be some of the ballsiest marketing that you could say, right? You're coming out and telling people this is what's not here. So if you're gonna come in, know that you're missing it, right? It's missing features right now. We're missing content.
37 weapons, 21 vehicles, and 3 maps with each of those.
Hold on, let me rewind that.
And the shiny things that actually sell games. What I'm saying is War Dogs has a content problem. We are launching with 37 weapons, 21 vehicles, and 3 maps with each of those maps having 3 variations.
Did you say 3 maps?
Weapons, 21 vehicles, and 3 maps with each of those maps having 3 variations within them. But after launch into early access
okay, well, 3 maps and 3 variations, that's 9 maps.
Next month, we'll be focusing on bug fixes, keeping the devs on hand to react to major feedback points, and a new map. But beyond that, in order to hit the 1.0 release with our metagame and truly deliver on our vision for War Dogs as a title...
It is very British, isn't it, Luke? Coming from the Brit. They have more guns than Battlefield has and multiple launches now.
That can go the distance.
Wait a minute. This has more than Battlefield? I forgot how many guns that Battlefield has. Jesus Christ.
We need to make sure that our devs are focused on exactly that.
Every single person that played this game in the beta on Twitter said it's the most flushed out game they've ever seen. They said it needs to launch now.
As a result, players should not expect regular content drops. We will update the game regularly, but the focus will be on balancing and fixing issues, just as early access was intended for. We want to make sure your expectations are...
That's right, it's early access on the 10th. It's not fully released.
Set here before you purchase. You shouldn't expect monthly map updates or new vehicles being added. That's the plan for after 1.0. For now, we want to focus on building the metagame and making the improvements we identify throughout early access. And as a result, we're going to price it accordingly.
You know where I stand, guys. I've always said, if you're going to do early access, you do a cheaper price. So if the original price is a $60, $70 game, but they're doing early access and they're charging $40, okay? I think, well, what he's just said, how many vehicles, how many guns, how many maps, and staying up front, I still think it's a good deal.
War Dogs is not cheap to make, and at full release, War Dogs will cost $59.99.
Oh, that's not even bad. So they're giving a $20 discount.
But we haven't delivered the metagame yet. If the game doesn't have all the features, we can't charge full price, so we're cutting it to $49.99. But with the lack of content in year 1 of War Dogs, we can't fairly justify that either, so we're cutting it to $39.99.
This is whoever their marketing guy is, whoever their marketing team is, This is very good, right? Even if it is a show, a pony show, okay? What they're showing you here is that they're showing you, look, we're not going to have a full release. The full release is going to be $60, which is still $20 less than a AAA game right now, or $10 less than a AAA game, because it's $70 really, right? $70, $80, okay? And they're like, oh, we're going to put it down to $50. And you're like, that's pretty good. And now they're at $39.99. You're like, all right.
Throughout development, we'll step the pricing up to $49.99 when the relevant updates are delivered throughout that first year. Then, when we come true on our...
This is still FOMO, by the way, right? This is still a FOMO tactic of get it while it's cheap, but you're going to miss content, which is fine. Which is fine, because if you're giving me, if I'm going to be a tester for you, early access person, and I'm giving you information, not information, personal information, but data for you to make the game better, then give me a cheaper price, right? It makes sense. We've talked about this in the past.
Our commitment to deliver the metagame and all the content in 1.0, then and only then will we step the price up to $59.99. Right now,
as long as they don't charge other people more money. Now, obviously, they'll probably have like a, support package or something like that.
You can pre-order War Dogs for $39.99 on Steam and get access to the beta. And if you don't enjoy the beta, or you just don't think the price is right, just refund it. We see this stair-step.
Now he's gone above it. Now he's gone above it. This is such a good tactic. It really is. I'm giving criticism to it, but I'm giving it I respect it. I respect it because he's like, if you don't like it, we'll get a refund for you.
Dogs for $39.99 on Steam and get access to the beta. And if you don't enjoy the beta, or you just don't think the price is right, just refund it.
That right there, he's just won over a whole shit ton of people. Because what's going to happen right now, but wait, there's more. What they just did right there is saying, because I was just thinking to myself, I don't pre-order, okay? But if I pre-order, I get the beta. And if I get the beta, I get to play it early. And I know I'm going to buy it, but now I get to play it early. And if I don't like it, because I just don't like it, then I get my money back after the beta, before it comes out. And you have a long time before it comes out, because it's not coming out for over a year.
We see this stair-stepped pricing approach as being the fairest method to reward the players who brought into War Dogs early, whilst also delivering a financial boost to the game later in its development, as we seek to continue to add value to the game. If the price feels too high for an early access game, please don't buy it yet.
This is the most honest game developer on the planet at this moment.
Wait until the game has more of what you want and consider it then.
War Dogs is performing beyond our expectations, with 800,000 wishlists and rising. But we still need to be level-headed about player expectations. Yes, we do expect our initial days.
You know, these are the guys that were making the Transformers Reactivate game? You know that, right? These are the guys that were making the Transformers game.
After launch to have a lot more.
Well, they were one of the studios making it.
Players than we expected. But we can tell you for a fact this is something completely normal, that those players will fall away over the next coming months. Player numbers will drop off, and journalists and influencers on the fringe of the community.
What happened? Well, they were working with another Splash Damage. Splash Damage is the ones that were actually doing it, and they were a second studio helping them make it.
We'll try and rage bait your enjoyment out of the.
And then I forget, Splash Damage like ran out of money or some shit. There was a whole ordeal that happened with it.
Game for social media clicks. This doesn't mean the game is dying.
They were a support studio. They weren't the main studio.
We're thinking longer term than a flash in the pan. Our goal is to settle into a sustainable, close-knit community. If we're pulling in 3,000 to 5,000 daily concurrent players who genuinely.
This is in my head right now, guys. Right? You guys know I love Battlefield. Love Battlefield. Me and Sarge used to play Battlefield, all the Battlefields. And about 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, it fell off with Battlefield 5 and whatnot. I feel like this is the game. This might be the game I latch onto and play, but I know it's a little too early to tell. Right? A little too early to tell. But I might, now that I have a computer, now I can play this game. I think I might be able to find my home.
close-knit community. If we're pulling in 3,000 to 5,000 daily concurrent players who genuinely love the game, it'll allow new players to buy in at any time and join an active community, whilst we're free to keep building upon the War Dogs foundation toward the larger 1.0 release.
All right, here's what I asked. We asked about monetization.
Reason number 4 is monetization. Why am I always doing these like evil business ones? Can I please just have like a cool game mechanic or something really fun? Okay.
He's like, fucking A, why do I have to do this?
There are 3 things relating to monetization that you can hold us to account on. Number 1, we will not monetize the game at any point during early access.
Okay, now he said this months ago, and we were asking, what does that mean after early access, right?
Number 2, we will never monetize in-game cash or gold bars. They must be earned through play.
Okay.
And number 3,
gold bars are currency inside the game, but you never buy those things, right? You use those for certain other items.
we will never allow you to purchase camos. Camos should show a player's status, not how much money they have.
Okay, so then what are you monetizing? Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm listening.
I think at this point we've made it abundantly clear there will be no monetization during early access, with the sole exception of an optional supporters edition. This includes...
There's a supporter pack, which I figured, which will probably be the $20 that they're giving a discount for. And because people feel that they're giving such a value, they will buy this because they're being so honest, right?
3 starter weapon skins, a little bird skin, and a couple of bobbleheads. It also includes a tag on the scoreboard for players who want to show off their support in-game. However, we don't want the stance here to be misconstrued of War Dogs never having monetization at all. That's not what we're saying. War Dogs will release into 1.0 and launch on multiple platforms, giving us a large boost in base game sales that we can use to reinvest into the game for post-release. However, Bulkhead will have ongoing running costs, player vault storage, stats, telemetry, anti-cheat up.
Player vault storage. Hold on.
It will have ongoing running costs, player vault storage, stats, telemetry,
stats and telemetry. What does that mean?
Anti-cheat updates and servers on top of continued development costs. There are expenses that need to be justifiable.
Oh, he's talking about what they're. I got you. Okay, I was like, what does that mean for us?
Long term, if base game sales no longer cover those costs. And to be clear, we're talking years in advance. It might seem strange to be talking about monetization that's years down the line, but we want you to be able to buy in knowing what you're buying into long term. We hope that we've shown that we're more than happy to have open discussions to explore different approaches to problems before committing to them. Sometimes we will be a bit off the mark, but good faith conversation is how we intend to find an acceptable line years in advance that feels fair and allows us to justify the continuous stream of content we want to serve up many years post 1.0 release. The War Dogs intellectual property is owned solely by Bulkhead, the developer. We have control of the future of War Dogs. So to wrap that point up, we recommend you don't buy War Dogs if you're staunchly against any form of monetization,
there you go.
As you'll become disappointed in a few years post-release. Our goal...
But let's be honest, right? Even if they put monetization down the road after 2 years down the road, and you love the game so much, you're probably done playing it by that point, right? Or you continue playing it, and if you continue playing it, then you're good. You're not going to buy the monetization.
It's not to bleed players dry until they quit. It's to break even and then reinvest those profits.
If you're buying War Dogs for the next breakthrough in video game graphics, you're in the wrong place. On the flip
I love this
side, if you're expecting the performance of a 5v5 competitive shooter like Counter-Strike or Valorant, you're also in the wrong place. We've done a lot of work to make UE5 FPS ready over a range of hardware, but if you're expecting to play native 4K at 240 FPS, War Dogs is not the game for you.
I fucking love this. Okay? I love the way they're talking about this because they're telling you, look, it's not about the fucking graphics. It's not about the goddamn 4K. It's not about this stuff. It's about a game that we want you to come in and have a fucking blast playing.
Every player's bar for what is acceptable performance is different, and we think what we've achieved with War Dogs is actually pretty good considering the scale and the ambition of the title, and our alpha testers have also shared that same opinion. If you have a lower spec rig and want more confidence before pre-ordering, then have a look at our Steam page's minimum and recommended specs, and then check out our latest devlog where we show our alpha build running on a range of different hardware. Alternatively, pre-order the game, join in the beta, and if you don't get the performance you're looking for, or it doesn't live up to the hype, just...
That is huge what they're saying. To say it out loud from a business, get the beta. If you don't like it, we'll refund you. No harm, no foul. What do you have to lose?
refund the game. No hard feelings.
We intend to use early access how it was originally intended, letting you play the early access build that shows the potential of War Dogs, whilst we work towards unlocking the full potential at 1.0. However, we will not have a linear roadmap or fixed content. Instead, we'll be testing things live with the community.
Did he say no roadmap? He said no roadmap. God, it feels so good to hear that. No roadmap.
Much like we've been doing during our closed tests at seemingly random times as the priorities of our development timeline shift. We know early access has earned a bad reputation because many games forever remain in their unfinished state with no plan to ever release. War Dogs has a plan and will reach full release roughly 24 months after launching into early access.
2 years. 2 years. So that's their plan. 2 years from now, from early access, that's when it launches.
In September. Reaching 1.0 isn't just important for us financially, it's about delivering our full vision for the game and launching on multiple platforms to even more players.
Yes, we...
Just enough says, I just saw a woman on the dev team cancel the game.
are the developers of Battalion 1944. That's not hidden information or something we shy away from. 10 years ago, when Bulkhead was much, much smaller, and our developers much, much younger, we kickstarted and created a back-to-basics 5v5.
There was a whole lawsuit. Here's a podcast we actually watched and listened to. It was a fantastic interview with him. And he talked about the Battalion 44 and how fucked up it was back then.
World War II shooter called Battalion 1944. I think as much as we wanted Battalion to succeed, with the low player numbers of only 50 to 200 daily players, our publisher relationships kind of broke down and the console version was held in limbo by lawyers and we'd burned through our profits supporting the game. So when we went dark on communication, it was way darker than we should have gone. And truthfully, we just didn't have anything to talk about other than the failure of Battalion and the glimmers of hope and passion project we were working on in our spare time.
I didn't see any purple.
The entire time since Battalion died, we felt like we owed the community a debt we just couldn't pay. Thankfully, work for hire projects came in and helped keep the studio alive. And eventually we saved enough money to be able to take the unprecedented step in refunding every Kickstarter.
Yeah, they refunded every single person that wanted a refund for that game.
A backer who helped us bring Battalion to life in the first place. And it's these lessons and scars from Battalion that War Dogs has been built upon. It's why we've been so cautious with our playtesting and why we've been so open with our marketing. To be really clear, we wouldn't have War Dogs without Battalion's failure. But if you still don't trust our studio because of Battalion 1944, don't rush to buy War Dogs.
I love that fact that he's like, look, if you don't like us from the past, then don't buy it. Don't give us your money. Wait.
We hope our actions speak louder than words, and you're always welcome to join the fun if you're willing to give our team another chance.
War Dogs has local VoIP heard by...
I heard this is phenomenal. Everything's got VoIP, and the conversations and stuff that was happening in the game when people were talking about it was hilarious.
All three teams, and that means players will naturally...
Hell Let Loose has got VoIP and stuff like that, so you can talk to people on your team. But it doesn't have like proximity chat. This has proximity chat, so you can shit talk your enemies and stuff.
Really talk shit, and not just players. The devs are going to do it too.
I wasn't even paying attention, Jay. I bet you think you're fucking good as well, mate.
If you are more sensitive to that kind of banter, you do have the option to mute individual players or VoIP entirely, and disable the text chat. However,
oh, look at that. You can opt in and opt out.
There is a line between banter and being a dickhead. And that line can be drawn by the community server admins per server and ultimately by us, the devs. Just for the record, if the devs that got banned from Twitch have to get involved and ban you, it's very likely that you're a dick.
War Dogs is designed as a PC-focused game for PC players first, but we know that some players want to just use gamepads, so there will be partial gamepad support at early access launch. However, keyboard and mouse will always be the optimal way to experience War Dogs on PC. With controller support comes the topic of aim assist. This will exist, but only to a small degree, as playing without it is honestly just comically bad.
Oh, Jesus.
There aren't any handouts in War Dogs though. It requires mastery, skill, and knowledge to succeed, regardless of input. If the idea someone wants to play with a gamepad is a deal breaker for you, then don't buy War Dogs. Nobody likes dying. In War Dogs especially, if you're running in like you're playing Call of Duty or Battlefield, you will likely die to someone playing more cautiously. If you're not willing to learn from those deaths, you're gonna have a bad time. One of the complaints we see from players is
this is 100% up my alley.
About how long it takes to get back into the control zone after you die, blissfully unaware that this is your punishment for dying, which creates an entire value vector.
Yes, yes, because you're not respawning on the guy right next to you 5 seconds later and then rushing in.
Alternate roles such as pilots and drivers getting you back into the action. Instead of an arbitrary respawn timer on your UI like an arcade shooter, in War Dogs your respawn timer is instead based on the choices you make from spawn. Should you buy a vehicle or catch a lift? Which vehicle is the fastest? Can you trust that pilot or not? It all matters. How and who you travel with, how fast you're willing to get there, and deciding the optimal route to get back into the action.
There was a guy who played 25 hours, and all he did, this is just this weekend, 25 hours this weekend for 3 days, and all he did was helicopter people into the battlefield. That's it. That's all he did. He just traveled people to the battlefield.
Getting from the safe zone to the control zone to holding on and respawning. Every decision has risks and consequences, with every outcome etched into your account balance. It's your cash, your decisions, your consequences. We've said it before, War Dogs is not for everyone. So if you can't cope with those stakes, you may want to play something else instead.
Would that be considered gatekeeping? Because I'm all for it. Yeah, but the best part is, Emp, is that that's their chopper, right? They're not rushing to get it into a chopper that's there. They bought the chopper. That's their money spending on the chopper that they're taking you into the battlefield with.
Go. There's 10 reasons you shouldn't buy War Dogs. If you're still here after all of that, War Dogs Early Access might actually be for you. But why are we laboring these points? For us, it all comes down to confidence. Confidence that you're buying a product from a team with a vision. We're not saying our game is perfect. We're saying, here's our plan, here's our vision, we know what we want to make. We've got the confidence to put War Dogs in your hands before it's fully complete. Confidence that we've spent the last 4 years building something that players genuinely want. And confidence that War Dogs is not being made for everyone is the reason it will succeed. And if we're right, the commitment to take our profits and go all in on making our 1.0 release everything we know it can be. With a blessing from Valve, War Dogs Early Access and Supporters Edition is available to pre-order now, and purchasing will guarantee you access to our closed beta on the 21st of August to help you decide if you...
That's the weekend of my son's birthday! Son of a bitch! Well, no pre-order for me.
You've made the right choice. You've listened and you've watched. Now is the time to play.
I'm excited, chat. That was the most truthful. Imagine if the rest of the industry was like that, right? Imagine they came out on the stage and like, yeah, we're raising the prices because we're going to rob you guys. Yeah, we're just raising the prices because we're greedy. Could you imagine if they were that transparent? That's very transparent for War Dogs or Bulkhead to talk about War Dogs like that. I'm excited, and I that sold it to me. I'll be honest with you. That sold it to me because I was interested in the game. All my questions were asked, or answered, I should say. I asked all the questions. All my questions were answered through the 10 steps here, right? The microtransactions are coming down the road, even if they are coming in the game. It's cheaper at the beginning. going to be $60 when it launches 2 years from now. Okay. If you're a certain type of game player that you like Call of Duty or something like that, this is not for you. This is like perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Rep says, people legit going to feel the stress of extraction shear that is like, so there's stuff to get mad to go kill the other guy who killed the chopper or tank. The stuff that you're doing, everything you do in the game, though, because you're mercenaries, you get money for. So me just dropping you off at the battlefield, as long as you don't die and I dropped you off, and let's say you go on a tear for like 20 kills, I get a portion of that, right? So now you want to help people. It drives to help people. You can just go around healing people. You can just go around building things. You can just go around traveling things, right? It's so good because if you don't want to fight, you can just be a medic, right? You could just have your own specific class that you want to do. You don't have to worry about anything else because you're working as a team, but you're also working on your own stuff because you want to get more money to help your team. Industry is beholden to the shareholders, so they're expected to be predatory as possible. I'm telling you, 30, it's one of the best tactical shooters I've ever played. Good to hear. Good to hear. I think you've said too much. You've said too much. Mr. Z says, anyone who gives you 5+ reasons why not to play deserves your money, at least to try the game. Them saying, pre-order the game, and if you don't like it, no harm, no foul. That should go across all businesses across the world, right? We talk about demos all the time. Demos should be a normal thing in video games. I should be able to try your game out before I invest $70 into your game. Now $80, now $90, now $100, right? 100%. Reasons for doing anything. Finally. Yeah, we're way ahead of everybody else, Sarge. How many years have we talked about this for Battlefield? So what happens here is if I'm loaded, kit loaded, right, and I die in this game, you can come over and pick up my stuff. Doesn't matter if you're friend or foe. You can come over and pick up the stuff, right? So you're not running out in the open and just trying to shoot people. You're playing like you're playing squad. You're playing like you're playing Arma, right? You're moving, you're sweeping, you're playing, you're doing battles. You're playing battles. Like if you play war in the yard with the kids, you're not just running out trying to shoot somebody. You do, but then you get killed and you die. You play paintball. You play with pellet guns. Whatever you're playing with, you're playing like it's actual battle. That's what this is, right? It makes you feel it's a game, okay? It's fun, but at the same time, it's not just, meat grinder trying to push in and whatnot like that. I'm excited. All right. It's way past my normal time that I usually stream to. Eclipse says, yeah, anyone can loot you if you're dead. Even before you die, the person that revived you can take your stuff. Yeah, see that? So they don't have to revive you. The people that come over and go, hey, bud, what's going on? Hey, are you scrummaging through my bag? Sure am. Let me revive you. Right? We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member. We'll be back tonight for 30 and Still Gaming, playing some more games. I might go play Restory again. I liked it. People come in and they don't like it. It is what it is. I'm playing games, not you. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning as well for the Daily Grind. And then tomorrow evening, we'll be doing Fake Wizard News over on Fake Wizard News channel. And then we're playing Shooting the Shit with Sarge on Wednesday night to finish out hopefully finish out the Halo campaign, campaign Devolve. And then Thursday, we have Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week and we rant along the way. Our 500th episode. Joining us this week will be Greg Owen, TheKingerd, and Fake Wizard will join me and Sarge on GXG. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.